with Arnold Dean. Hot talk, great guests. Weeknights at 6:15 from WTIC, Hartford.
BBC Radio, Canada's public broadcast.
Try Carter's Little Liver Pill. Good advice.
Good mornings only on KCMO Kansas City. It's 8 o'clock.
When you're tuned to CDS Radio.
This is the DX Central from the Static Podcast.
From Studio B of the North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of the From the Static Podcast. I'm your host, Loyd Van Horn, here bringing you another edition of our DX Central Relive, our audio-only version of our live stream for Season 6, Episode 26 for our Friday night live stream. Not many episodes left in Season 6, to be honest with you. We've got a great one here for you, though, for episode number 26. And starting with, it's now April, so guess what? We're changing our focus. We're going to continue to still do some AMDX and do some of that, but our focus is mainly on FM and getting everyone ready for the upcoming FM season for Sporadic E. We're going to be wrapping up the frequency challenge in this episode, and it's been a really great one, actually. More than 3,000 logs, or right around 3,000 logs, and I also heard Uruguay this week, so some good stuff to talk about on the AM side. We are, though, getting started and really focusing in on FM DX Preparedness Month. So we're going to do a quick recap on Tropo, which is our most immediate friend that we're going to be dealing with here as we look ahead in the month of April. So what's Tropo? How does it work? How do you know when it's going to be happening? What to expect? And we launch our FM Bandscan challenge. Just unlike anything we've ever done before, we have a whole new user interface, and we're doing this FM Bandscan challenge. It's going to be really, really cool. So we'll dive into that here in this episode as well. And we're also going to talk about FM Bandscans in general. Like, how do you do one? How do you document your findings? Why is that data so important? And how is that going to be helpful for you as we get into E season? So sit back, relax, bring us with you wherever you may go. This is Season 6, Episode 26 of DX Central Relive here on the From the Static Podcast.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
Look, Loyd wants us to cut some onboarding drops for the upcoming FM season. And that means I need to access all of our FM DX sites and resources like FM List and the W Logger. No, I don't remember my login information, Gary. I haven't touched the damn thing in almost a year, Gary. You know, nerds like you and Loyd might log in to FM DX sites in the middle of January to study propagation paths. But the rest of us have other things to do, you know? Like what? Oh, what is it you kids are always saying these days? Like touching grass, Gary. Look, since you're the only one here whose brain is essentially a circuit board, I need your help. Welcome to April. The temperatures are rising, and so is the frequency of our targets. Hey, that was pretty clever. I just did that off the cuff. For our first walkthrough, we are logging into our online logbook to find out why my security question is, what was your first pet's middle name? You did what? Your fish? Gary, who gives a goldfish a middle name? So you're telling me your fish was named Goldie Danger Smith? Danger? Gary, you named your fish Danger? I can just see him now. A tiny neon tetra with a leather jacket and a camel sticking out of its mouth. Accessing sporadic e-alerts to stay in the know the second the bands open up. Now, I just need to verify my email address and it wants a code from my trusted device. Gary, it says it sent the code to a device labeled The Brick. Wait, you did what? Are you serious, Gary? My Nokia 6110 from 1998? I didn't even know it would still turn on. Be careful with that. I swear that thing gives off more RF radiation than a Czechoslovakian over-the-horizon radar. Ensuring our membership is active. Now, it wants me to identify all squares with a mountain. Gary, that is a pile of laundry. That is not a mountain. What did you say? Mount Washmore? Mount Washmore. Oh, God, I'm tired. Why is that so funny? Yes, Gary, I see the summit. It's a pair of Argyle socks. Preparation is key. Stay tuned to DX Central Live for more... You know what? I'm done. I have reached my limit of failed attempts. The internet has won. Gary, you take over the mouse and solve the socks versus mountain riddle. Click all the squares with that damned motorcycle in it. Even the one with the little tiny corner of the mirror. I don't care anymore. I am done. I'm going to the lounge. I hope no one found my bottle of 14-year-old Glenmorangie Kinter Reuben.
Setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. DX Central Live, where the signals can't hide. Tuning in the static, chasing down the sounds. Every single signal is magic we have found. All radios hum, the chatters all agree. DX Central Live is the place to be. Folks in the chat, shout out your call. From east to west, we're breaking down the walls. It's the magic of the night, where frequencies fly. Join us now on DX Central Live.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world,
this is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Loyd Van Horn.
From the North Shore Studios here in beautiful Mandeville, Louisiana, on the shores of Lake Pontchartrain. We are in Studio A for DX Central Live, Season 6, Episode 26. Getting down to the nitty and the gritty. Both of those, the nitty and the gritty. Because we are down to, now we're in April, our last month of live streams here for DX Central Live for this season. And this is the point. The line in the sand that we draw here every year, well, starting since last year, where we still keep an eye on AM. And I'm going to talk about that tonight, because I don't want there to be any misconceptions here that we're like just abandoning AM for the spring and the summer. No. Couldn't be further from the truth. What we are doing, though, is we're shifting our focus. We're still doing stuff with AM, but our focus is shifting, and that's going to be to the FM side of things, Band 2, as it were. So we'll be doing a lot of talking about FM for the next several episodes leading up into our final episode of the season on May 1st, where we officially have our, let's go have some fun for the summer of DX, for the summer of eSkip, hopefully. A lot of eSkip. We had a pretty good season last year. I think we can hopefully have a pretty good season this year if the ionosphere cooperates. So this is our transition mode. Now we're moving towards that, but we have not forgotten about AM. And I tell you, this is a really good time of the year for AMDX. This is a fantastic time of the year for AMDX. And if we weren't getting ready for the upcoming FM season, we would be still focusing on AMDX. How do I know that's a good time of the year? Because I heard Uruguay this week. For the first time ever here in Mandeville that I have received, we got Uruguay. I've been chasing those guys for 3 years, and they made it into the log this week. This is also a great time for Gray Line DX. The termination line, the gray line, is still pretty vertical. So maybe a slight little to it, but it's still pretty vertical. And every day as time goes along, every day is getting longer and longer, and so sunset's happening later and later. So these early weeks of the month, the first 2 weeks of the month right now, are exceptional for Greyline DX. So there we go. And we are going to be getting ready for the Summer of DX, which is going to incorporate AM and FM, same as we did last year. There's a couple of other little nuances we're going to pull into it this year, but we will be doing AM and FM for the Summer of DX challenge, just like we did last year, because that was a lot of fun. Chasing the grids, come on, that was a lot of fun. Speaking of challenges, though, we are wrapping up tonight our frequency challenge, and you guys have been absolute animals with this thing. The goal, if you remember, for those of you who might not have been kind of knee-deep into it like Greg Caniglio and Matt Sattel have been this last 3 weeks, because, good Lord, and Dennis and Mexico Mike, you guys, let's see, Neil up in Ontario, John Johnson, Sean, all of you guys, everyone I just mentioned has 50 or more frequencies where they met the quota. The goal here was to get 3 or more stations logged on every frequency between 540 and 1600. 2 or more stations logged on 1620 to 1700. That was the goal we were looking at for the frequency challenge. Kind of a last big push for AM to maybe get some new ones in the log before people really, mostly will be shifting their focus to FM. Again, I'm going to talk about that in the next hour before we get fully into FM. Almost 3,000 logs this week, you guys. We're right now at, let me go back, and I just refreshed it a few minutes ago. We are at 2,988 logs. That's, let me just refresh it again. 2,991. Can we get 9 more logs before the top of the hour so we can hit 3,000 logs? We've never hit 3,000 logs in one challenge other than the Summer of DX. 3,000 logs. Can we do it? We have the rest of the hour. This hour and the next hour, so we have till 8 o'clock Central Time to get those in. Come on, you can do it. 9 more. 48 states, 13 countries, and honestly, I haven't had a lot of time to devote to it this week. I could have helped out with some of those as well from down here in Louisiana. We have a pretty good look at some of those other countries down in Central America. Jacob with the 5,900-mile reception for Argentina. We had the 5,011 here for Uruguay from Montevideo. And the scores. Let's look at the scores, because this is crazy. Matt Sattel and Greg Caniglio are tied. I don't remember who it was. Somebody in the chat said it was going to end up, it's like, oh, I won't be able to do this one. Congratulations. Good luck to everybody. I think it's going to end up in a tie. I predict it's going to be in a tie. Well, I had put in these little extra bonus points to try to prevent a tie. But here we are, a little over an hour away from the end of the challenge, and Matt and Greg both sit at 13,980 points. We have a tie right now. So, is someone going to break the tie? Do we have somebody who can break it? Right now, Matt has the lead on number of frequencies with a quota, Matt, so I guess that's the tiebreaker, because that's kind of the goal of the challenge, right, is the frequencies with quotas met, so I guess that would be the tiebreaker. So, in that regard, right now, Matt's in the lead, but points-wise, it's pretty close. You guys blew me away on this one. However, later on in our next hour, we are going to be launching our next challenge. And that next challenge is going to be a doozy. But it's not AM. It's an FM challenge. But it's going to be a doozy. And I am very excited to try out a brand new user interface. I've never done this before. This was custom coded with the help of Google Gemini, because I don't know code. I don't know Python. Gemini does. I just told Gemini what I wanted to do, and I think we have 50, 51, 52 iterations of code that we pushed, of the same code, just 52 different times, making all the tweaks and everything we need to do to get it right. But right now, as of right now, everything's working the way I want it to. And we have a new user interface for entering the logs for this next challenge. We have the dashboard, our usual data analysis dashboard with all the stats and everything. So I am extremely excited about this next challenge for everybody. It's an FM challenge again, and I think it's going to help serve a need that myself and a lot of other people might have heading into the season. Cool? So we'll be announcing that this coming hour. But again, I don't want to say, we're not saying goodbye to AM by any stretch of the imagination. We're simply saying we're going to shift our focus. We'll still be looking at AM all summer long, but we're just going to shift our focus. Our primary objective here is around FM, Tropo, and getting ready for sporadic E season. So for this first hour today, we're going to talk about Tropo. We're going to look at the Tropo forecast. We're going to talk about what Tropo is, how it works, how different kinds of Tropo that exist. We're going to be taking a look at Bill Hepburn's website and looking at the different kinds of Tropo that exist and how it actually functions. Because there's not just one kind of Tropo. There's different kinds of Tropo that can happen. And each one of those have different characteristics. We're going to take a look at his forecast as well and kind of dive into how it works and how to read the forecast. You know, we try to look at this during the season here. We look at the Tropo forecast on our stream, but you guys will be flying solo once we get to May 1st. So I need you to know how to read the Tropo forecast as well. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be in the next hour, the hour after, the second hour, hour 2, we're going to be excuse me, my voice broke there. We're going to be focusing on FM Bandscans because this is the most important thing that you can do. I would say it's even more important. Well, I mean, the gear part is important. Getting your antennas up in the air and making sure all your gear is working, that's obviously very important. Okay, I'm not saying that. From a process standpoint, the single probably most important thing that you can do right now to get ready for the FM DX season is a Bandscan. And so we're going to talk about Bandscans. We're going to talk about how to do them, how to approach them, and how they can actually help you. Why is a Bandscan important? Why is it going to help you for the upcoming FM season? We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at how I do mine, and then we'll talk about some ways you can do yours. Okay? So that's what we got coming up here tonight. Of course, we got tons of shout-outs already. Let me see here. Yep. I'm still scrolling. There we go. I got through. We're in double digits here almost. We are in double digits for the number of shout-outs in here. And we got our own to talk about, our own catches this week as well. So let's look at some DX. We're going to start off with some AM DX, and we're actually going to do something we've never done before here at DX Central. I'm very excited because we actually were able to upgrade over at Shortwave Central at Mom's house this week. We were able to get her upgraded to a 500 megabyte per second symmetrical fiber optic connection. We have the gig here. She's at a 500 megabyte. So now that she's at that symmetrical connection, we actually have a really great connection to our remote air spy that's plugged into our big, massive CAS antenna pointing down to South America. So now I can use the code channel canceller to DX Latin America. That's how we got Uruguay, by the way. That's how it happened. So we bring up our air spy tonight to do a little DX. Instead of the Kiwi, the Shortwave Central Kiwi, we're going to be using the air spy connected to the exact same antenna. 150 degrees, 25 by 72, 10 feet up in the air, same antenna. Now it's going to be on an air spy. But before we do all that, this session of DX Central Live DX is brought to you by the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org. Go there now and get yourself a nice membership. And be sure to take advantage of all the publications they have, the DX Monitor, the IRCA TIS Har List, the Mexican Log, all those great things that you can get from the IRC. You get the email reflector you have access to for like breaking DX tips, like, hey, I'm hearing this guy off the air. You know, these people are off the air. These people are online or on late. It's hot in here with the door shut. It gets hot in this room with all the equipment and the lights and everything. So I got to turn the fan on. So let's do some live DX. We are, let's see, where have I left off? I haven't done much in the way of frequency work this week. Not diligent, at least. I think we left off in the 14s. So let's go up here to 1390 and look down south here in the Air Spy. This is using Spy. So we have our Air Spy over at Shortwave Central. It's connected via Spy server. And then we are, there we go, 1390. We have that Spy server running, and now I'm connecting to that via SDR Sharp and the Spy server connection. We have a 16-bit, full IQ. I've been doing some sunrise recordings, full IQ sunrise recordings this week. Works fantastic. So very excited about that. Let's go ahead and start off here on 1390 with
DX Central Live Top of the Hour Alert.
We do some live DX. We're looking for top of the hour IDs here. Let's sit on 1390 for now and see what we have here on our southern facing Kaz. Conditions are still a little early for us to get much, so don't expect like earth-shattering DX here. So we've got some country music in here. Let's plug in some of the new noise reduction here. Now, Prog's been improving all the noise reduction in SDR Sharp, but there's a new version of it here. It's under custom. He's got a new voice activity detect. He's been fleshing out the noise reduction here in the latest versions of the beta of SDR Sharp. And I think I'm even like a couple of versions behind, and I just got this last week. Oh, wow. That's pretty nifty. I hadn't played with the Boost SNR yet. Listen to that.
Separate attacks with one service member and at least one missing. Dramatic escalation. The war began nearly 5 years ago. It was the first time U.S. aircraft had been found in the conflict. Russia has launched a big attack on Ukraine early on Friday.
Russia has launched a missile and drone on Friday near the killing and injuring around potential peace. And it is celebrated by both Ukrainian officials is increasing during the day.
America said it was surprisingly 178,000 jobs last month. From a dismal and the unemployment.
Go 1380. Turn off the noise reduction for now. Oh yeah, 540. Let's go down to 540. Right, I forgot about that. Real quick, let's go down here to 540 because XEWA in San Luis Potosi is off the air, and that's an opportunity for us now. Now, it's still early, but if they're off the air, and I'm on my southern-facing antenna, Nicaragua's down there, and a couple others. Now, we've heard Nicaragua here before. Nicaragua, it's Radio Corporación. But, yeah, maybe we have a chance. So we did get, on 1390, we got two stations from Mississippi, WMER in Meridian, WNLA in Indianola. Both of those are relogs. Normally I would have XEWA taking over here. I don't see Nicaragua here just yet, because I would expect them to be like right over here. So it's still a little early. The gray line is still over by the Alabama-Georgia line right now. I'm going to assume that one of the stations you hear right now is WFLF down in Pine Hills, Florida.
So here's what I want to tell you. You'll probably see it in places like Christian Post.
It'd be ASG in Daphne, Alabama. Also probably in there. So probably one of those two, or maybe both of those in here right now on 540.
So what happens through this valley
Yeah, I think I hear maybe a Braves game in there. That could be WDAK. I think, don't they hear the Braves? Could also be WRGC, my old peeps up in Silva. I used to run, when I first started in radio, in commercial radio, I was a board op for Braves games at WRGC when we were on 680.
Like you've broken this, it can only come from the wells of desperation. Pain is the fire that allows the hammer of God to forge hearts and to shape character. I know we all go through pain. When you just come out of it, some of you might be going in.
There is a station, Robert, in Texas, KULP. They're a country station in El Campo over by Houston. So it could have been them. There's also one up in Waxahachie, KBEC. They're country western as well. So you could have either of those two stations could have been what you were hearing there in Leander.
In those spots, and you've got to strengthen yourself in the Lord.
All right, so I think we got this one kind of slated down. So 1390, we had WMER, WNLA. Here we've got likely that's to be ASG and used to be Outmore Nats, Daphne, Alabama. They're on 540 with XEWA MIA, as they have been, I think, for quite a few days. KULP 1390 always does a wolf howl at the top of the hour. That's really good to know. Thank you, Mike. Have I heard them here? I think maybe I have. Yeah, I've got them. I've got them here. I haven't gotten Waxahachie yet, but I do have KULP. They're at El Campo. So that should be good. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got more live DX to get to this next hour. This hour, we've got to announce our new challenge, our new FM challenge, and say goodbye to the frequency challenge and do a final check on the score. And our main focus will be, in addition to your shout-outs, talking Tropo, FM Tropo, tropospheric ducting, as it were. We're going to talk about the mechanics behind that. What kind of stuff needs to happen, and where is it happening? Why can we forecast Tropo, but we can't forecast E-skip? We'll talk about that. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
Lines line the walls, lost in the sea, endless, lost in frequency. Too much tech I see, dial back the clock. Please, cables webbing tight satellites, blocking out the light, modern waves pass me by. Lost in frequency, simpler times for me, life for love.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Loyd Van Horn.
There we go. Now, it's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana. Oh, man. I have been looking forward to using that as a bumper all week. That is one of my favorite stations we've made at DX Radio so far. It's just so... I don't know, man. I've been playing it on repeat all week. All right, it's April. And April means we shift our focus here at DX Central. We're still doing AM, and I want to talk on that for just a few moments before I get into our FM topic. So there has been this narrative, and you guys know, who've been around the live stream now for a couple of years, you know what I'm about to talk about. So you've probably heard this before. So if you know this and you agree, then go ahead and get yourself a beverage, and I'll be here when you get back. There's this narrative out there that AMDX dies in the summertime, that there's nothing to hear, it's too noisy, too much solar interference, too much lightning crashes from thunderstorms. Don't even waste your time. Just put away the AMDX for the summer. Focus on FM. Forget about AM. It's done. I set out a couple of years ago to dispel that rumor and put it to bed indefinitely. And I think we've done that pretty successfully over the last 2 seasons with our Summer of DX Challenge. We've shown that there is a lot to hear during the summertime on AM. There's stuff that you can't really probably hear any other time of the year other than summertime on the AM band, because of the way the gray line is oriented, because of when sunset times and sunrise times line up, because of different paths that open up, because of the way that the gray line is shaped and what paths it's creating. Trans-equatorial stuff seems to work very well in the summertime. I heard Benin in Africa from Charleston in the summertime, in the middle of July. And I've got a bunch of other examples of international DX that I got in the summertime as well. One of my all-time favorite catches that I had with Brasstown, I heard KOKK 1210 out of South Dakota, out of Huron, South Dakota. Heard that in the middle of July on a portable radio in my the cabin that we were staying at. So this idea that AMDX just is, forget about it. It's too hard. There's nothing to hear anyway because the band is just dead and all the lightning crashes. Is it more challenging? Yeah, it is. Is it more difficult? A little bit more. Is it rewarding? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And my old boss used to say back in the day, is the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah. There's still stuff to find there and be able to pull into your logbook. You're not going to be able to maybe do some of the things you do in the middle of dead winter, like gray line or ground wave in the middle of the daytime, hearing 500, 600 plus miles. That might be a little more challenging in the summertime than it is in the winter and dead winter, but that doesn't mean that AM is dead. So as we shift our focus here to FM, I just want to make sure I set the record straight that I'm not in this effort, I'm not endorsing the idea that AM season is now done. We can put it behind us and take all the AM antennas down, put up all the FM antennas, and just, say, we'll see you in September. No, not even close. Okay, I don't get behind that stance at all. And anyone who says it on social media, send them my way. I've got the data to prove that is bunk. All right, that is a completely false statement to say that AMDX dies in the summertime. Not true. But because we have the sporadic E-season coming up, and because we don't live stream during the summer, we take the summer off from the live stream so we can focus on other projects. Because of that, I need to get you guys ready for the FM season, so we're shifting our focus for the next several weeks as we finish up the season. We're shifting our focus to FM. That's what this is, right? So AM, still super important. Make sure you're still doing it. Make sure you're still AMDXing, but we're getting ready for FM season. So we're starting to get preparations. I call it, what was it? Was it March? February, March, April? One of those months is like Severe Storm Preparedness Month. I think it was either February or March. It's Severe Storm Preparedness Month, and I think we're about to have Hurricane Preparedness Month. Well, this is April, and I'm officially declaring April as FM DX Preparedness Month. All right? This is where you go through and you make sure that all your supplies are in place to get ready for the season, that you have a plan in place to be able to execute when there's action happening, right? You just same way you might do for severe storms or hurricane on the way. This is FM DX Preparedness Month. All right, I'm putting a stamp on it. Boom, and you guys can run with that. Use it on social media. WTFDA folks, have at it. I want to see it in the line of sight. Let's do it. Let's call this FM DX Preparedness Month. All right. So in that vein, let me start by one of the more common occurring propagational enhancement methods that do occur on the FM band. Sporadic E is the most famous because it's exciting. You never know when it's going to hit, and it produces these really cool things like conditions that are thousands of miles away, 1,000 or 2,000 miles away, or down into the Caribbean, or over out west when you're on the East Coast. You get to see these more exotic locations. But I'm going to talk to you now about one of the more consistent and widely available, and to me, one of the more fun because it's a little more stable. It can be, I don't know if it's more fun, but it's very fun, DX, and that's Tropo. Some people do call it Tropo because technically we're talking about the troposphere. We're talking about tropospheric ducting because this is all stuff that happens in the troposphere. So you'll hear people say Tropo. You'll hear people like me who, I'm potato this thing, and I say Tropo. It's the same thing. Okay. In case you hear that, I don't want you to be confused. Tropo, they're the same thing. They're spelled the same way. There's the same thing. We're talking the same thing. It's tomato for sure. We're going to start with a feature here that should be familiar to those of you who are here week in, week out with us here on the DX Central Live. This is the Bill Hepburn DX Info Center, and specifically his tropospheric ducting forecast. And this is where I want you to make sure, and we're going to put this link and all the links we talk about tonight, we'll be dropping in the chat for you guys to follow along. Team Tropo, you guys, you probably call it a GIF too, don't you? It's a GIF. It's a GIF. I don't care. It's a GIF. Come at me, bro. It's a GIF. Even the guy that invented it says it's a GIF. All right. So I put the link in here in the chat for you guys. This is Bill Hepburn's Tropo ducting forecast, and so this is where I want to make sure you guys are aware of how to get to it, how to use it as we get into the summertime, because a lot of times people think of Tropo as this coastal phenomena, right? You have to be on or near a coast, whether that's an ocean or a lake, really big lake like the Great Lakes, but that's not true. It's not as common inland. But you can actually get, and our people who were here for the summer of 2023 in the big high-pressure heat dome Tropo opening that occurred that year, you guys in the Midwest can attest, you just need the right conditions to create a Tropo opening inland. It's more common on the coast because those right conditions happen more readily along the coastline, okay? So this is the forecast. This is where you would go to find out, can I expect Tropo conditions in my area anytime soon? Okay. And we've seen this before. We've talked about it here on the live stream. I am going to talk about how to kind of read it here on a few minutes. But when you get here to the site, you have a little pull-down menu over here that you can use to look at different regions. I think it's kind of fun sometimes. Like, I'll look over here at the Middle East in the middle of the summertime and see their Tropo. You'll see over here in some of the places that we're hearing a lot about in the news right now, it'll just be white. It'll just be absolute white, because what happens, it's a desert. What happens at night in the desert? It gets cold in the desert. In the daytime, it heats up. So you have these inversion layers that go crazy, especially right there along the water. So you'll have these just big, huge swaths of white, red hot, just like beyond extreme Tropo that's occurring over in the Middle East. It's fun to look at. You guys talk about the Gulf, our Gulf here in the States, and how good our Tropo is. This is Tropo right here. It's persistent. It's always there because of the temperature differences. We have the same thing here in the western half of the country over here with the Gulf of California, or the Gulf of Cortez, right? This little area down here, there's always Tropo down here, right? So if you're right here on the coastline of western half of the mainland of Mexico, you have a constant pipeline to the Baja Peninsula. Like, it's always there. Okay. So we're going to look at this here in a moment. But first, before we dive into like the forecast and even looking at our forecast for the next couple of days, let's talk about what Tropo is and how it operates. So the easy explanation that we can talk about here is that it's created by inversion layers. And what is an inversion layer? So I have my soda here. This is a bottle of soda. And it was in my refrigerator. It was nice and cold. So you have this cold liquid that's inside. And then you bring it out into the warm air, and what happens is you get that condensation, right? So now you have cold air and you have warm air, and so this condensation kind of builds up, and you get this little temperature difference. You can also see this sometimes when you're like at a swimming pool. Like, if you ever been in a pool on a really, really hot day and your pool is nice and cool, it's a cool pool, and you put your arm down in the water and you look, and your arm looks like it's over here now, like it's kind of bending the light of your arm, so it looks like it's like over here, but it's actually not. It's over here because the light's bending because of this temperature difference between the hot air that's up here and the cold air that's down here where the water is. Now that is bending that light, that refraction of light, because there's an inversion. Normally, you would expect to have hot air. Heat rises, right? So you're going to have warm air, but normally, like in the summertime, it's going to be hot all the way through, right? But if you get these little layers of cool air lower down at the surface, that's where these temperature inversions can happen. So when you look here at how the kind of the troposphere, the atmosphere kind of looks, so this is what's called normal conditions. So this is your normal ground wave line of sight. Just, hey, here's the tower, here's my antenna. They can see each other. I can hear them. I'm able to receive them. This is dead band conditions, and that means you have basically from the surface all the way up through the troposphere, all layers of the atmosphere. It's warm or all cold. Like, you've seen this on the Tropo forecast when the cold front comes through and the Tropo is like out in front of it. It's awesome. And you can just watch it come in, and we're going to probably see it here in a few minutes because there's a cold front coming this next week. It just clears out the Tropo. It's because it's stabilizing the atmosphere all the way down to the surface, all the way up. It's just level setting it so that everything, all the layers in the atmosphere are all the same temperature, right? That's what contingent's like a dead band condition. Then you get this thing called tropo scatter. So this is, especially if you're around a coastal area and this time of the year and through the summer, it's almost always there. This is how I get things like KSMB on a regular basis, Mobile, Alabama, pretty regularly during any given day in the summertime. It's because of this tropo scatter. So it's usually pretty quick. It's not stable. You'll be in and out, kind of fluttery. But it's beyond your normal deadband line of sight conditions, and if your antenna is not actually seeing the tower in Mobile, or I'm not actually seeing the tower in Lafayette, my antenna is not. But there's enough of a little bit of something in the atmosphere, kind of spotty, to be able to refract that back down to my antenna, so I can at least get some of that. Bill mentions here, it's when the signal occurs in contact with discontinuities in the troposphere. These can be small temperature or humidity variations, such as those that can be found around cloud layers, individual clouds, updrafts, downdrafts, small droplets such as drizzle and mist. They can be large, such as a tropopause, which is the boundary that's there between the troposphere and the stratosphere above it. The tropopause provides much of the longer distance scatter due to its height. So it's way up there, right there where the troposphere and the stratosphere meet. That's the tropopause, right? So because it's so high, right there next to the stratosphere, you can get some longer tropo scatter. But it's not like an actual duct. It's just more of like there's a little bit of some anomalies, maybe some of these clouds or whatever, that are causing some of these signals to be able to bounce down in, or refract back down in limited quantities. Tropospheric superrefraction. This is where you have cool, moist air and then warm, dry air. So when you look at this here, this is the transmitter. These little these green beams are the signals coming out. He's got a fantastic demonstration here that he's put together. So what happens is that depending on the angle that you might be looking at, you can get some refraction that kind of happens where it's bending back down. Now, if it's a straight shot straight up, it's going to bend a little bit. But when you have these longer bends, some of those are going to go through more of that cool, moist air for a longer period of time before they hit the warm, dry air, and then they're going to be able to refract back down. So when they start bending downwards, the signals can travel further. So that's why some of these lower angles that you see down here, they're able to get further out. The effective bending is now less than 4/3 Earth radius, but still more than 1 Earth radius. So the base of the inversion is considered to be the ground. The top of the inversion is the boundary between that cool, moist air and warm, dry air. So if you have, like, let's say it's a summertime and you've got some dry air moving in, but you're around a coastline, so you get this, like, surge of, like, the sea breeze coming in. It's moist air. It's a little bit cooler because it's overnight. Around sunrise in the morning, you get that little inversion layer. That's what we're looking at here. Normally in the, he says here, this is why we call it an inversion. Normally in the lower troposphere, temperatures decrease with height and humidity increases with height. So normally in those layers of the troposphere, as you go up in altitude, you're decreasing temperature, right? Heat rises, but normally as you go up in elevation, you're getting cooler and cooler and cooler. Well, what happens when that hits a wall where it's actually not? It's actually getting warmer as you go higher, or you hit this warm air up above. That's these temperature inversions we're talking about, okay? And that's where these signals can refract back down. Here's the one that most of you guys know about. This is tropospheric ducting, okay? Tropospheric ducting occurs when the superrefractive bending becomes so much the signal hits the ground at a distance far away from the transmitter and then is refracted back up to the inversion and then refracted back down again. So it's kind of like, I always kind of picture it like it's like in a tunnel, right? You get one of those like bouncy little balls, like little bouncy super bounce balls, and you throw the bouncy ball, and the bouncy ball hits the ground and goes up towards the ceiling of a tunnel, and then it's going to come back down. It's going to hit the ground again, and if you got enough signal there or enough strength behind that bounce, it's going to hit the ceiling and bounce back down, hit the ceiling, bounce back. That's what's happening in these ducts. They call it a duct because that's basically what it is. It's a pipeline between that transmitting signal. It gets into this layer, and it's going to keep doing this until it gets to your antenna. That's a tropospheric duct. That's how Tropo works. For most people, when they think of Tropo, this is what they're thinking about, is a pipeline between you and that DX along these layers. One of the best examples I've had here in Louisiana, a couple of years ago, we had a beautiful duct up to Missouri and Illinois and Iowa, straight north. And it was, you can actually see, I actually have the analysis. I'll put this up for you guys to take a look at so you can look. I'm not going to go through it here, but you can take a look at the analysis that I did. If I can find my FM logbook, there it is, about this Tropo opening that we had up into Missouri. And it was just the conditions were exactly right, and the forecast showed it, and the meteorological data that I looked at all showed this is validating the forecast. It was just perfect. It was just right. August 8th, 2024. There it is. So I'll put this in here so you guys can take a look at it. So this is what's giving me my best inland Tropo. Now, my best Tropo, period, is down in New Mexico. That's that Gulf Tropo. But this was my best inland Tropo. We had a distance record for that opening of, I want to say it was 718 miles. Inland Tropo, up to Missouri and Iowa. because of this duct. So I've got the weather maps in there. I've got the temperature readouts and observations and everything, and like what was going on. So if you want to nerd out on the weather and you want to nerd out on a Tropo opening of what these ducts can actually do, go check out that link I just put in the chat, because it's awesome. It was one of my favorite Tropo openings ever, because it was so perfect. It was exactly what we're looking at here with the Tropo duct. There are other forms of Tropo as well. You can get these elevated ducts where you have a little bit of mild dry air, some cool moist air, some warm dry air. You get some super refraction where things kind of just like bend, because it's actually anti-tropo is what it's called here. When the lower troposphere becomes unstable with a greater than normal drop-off of temperature with height, the signals usually will gradually bend upwards. The effective bending is greater than the normal 4/3 Earth radius. This results in a reduced range for all signals. The degree of abnormal bending during extreme subrefraction event is less than that observed during the extreme superrefraction. So you kind of see that. It's like the opposite. It's actually not going to give you these signals. It's actually reducing. Like that Tropo scatter we talked about, like how that's like giving you this little enhancement. It's actually reducing that. He also goes into some additional things like radiation Tropo, high pressure Tropo. Well, that's the one that we saw, the heat dome, back in August of 2023. You guys had the high pressure. This is subsidence Tropo, sinking air, subsidence, and a high pressure system warms and dries as it descends. Often cool, moist air can become trapped underneath, forming an inversion. High pressure drops Tropo can last all day. We get these sometimes on the East Coast as well. You get those big Bermuda highs. I remember there was a Bermuda high just off the coast when I was in Charleston, and we were getting Orlando all day for like 2 days. My FM band was Charleston, Jacksonville, and Orlando. Every frequency was either my locals, Jacksonville, or Orlando. It was like Jacksonville, Orlando were locals because of a big high pressure dome. Often, radiation Tropo occurs simultaneously at night, blocking more distant signals from high pressure Tropo. As a result, conditions can be better during the day, and I saw that. Let's talk about some other things here for coastal. Definitely take a look at this page. I'm going to drop this page here in the link as well in the chat. So this is where you can kind of read more about and see some of the observations about the different kinds of Tropo that are out there, and kind of learn some of the atmospherics and the meteorological stuff. And I'm sure there's probably some stuff in there I oversimplified or messed up, but that gives you the general idea. So we get this a lot of times around coastal regions. Why? Well, you have that sea breeze coming in, right? So you have the sea breeze. It's going to be most pronounced right around sunset. And then it's going to probably start to trail off a little bit, unless it's like super soupy. Right here in the Gulf, sometimes we can get it late into the evening. But normally, it's going to be most prevalent around sunset. And then it's going to trail off as you get later into the night, as those layers of the atmosphere kind of stabilize. And then you get to the morning, and what happens? Sunrise happens. You get that burst of solar radiation warming up those layers of the atmosphere rather above the surface. Now you got cool air down below, you got warm air above. Boom, you got inversion layer, you got sea breeze kind of blowing in. Now you've got Tropo around sunrise, and a lot of times sunrise Tropo is even better. Like you can get some really good stuff at sunrise. So if you're in a coastal area, this is the time of the year to April is fantastic Tropo conditions. You'll also have a second peak in the fall. Around September, October, as things begin to cool off, you'll have that cooler air kind of moving in. It's kind of lingering down at the surface, especially if you still have some warmer air aloft. So this is a really good time for Tropo. If you are around a coastal area, I'm talking East Coast, Gulf Coast, anywhere around the Great Lakes, where you have these massive bodies of water, where you have the cooling from the water, and you have air moving across that, and you have warmer air above, especially as you're having warm fronts and things like that coming through. So now let's talk about Bill's Tropo forecast. Bill's Tropo forecast is going to show you where there are opportunities for Tropo conditions to occur. And he does this, and he was a meteorologist, and he's done, he's taken all this meteorological data that's available through different models and things like that. So it's this algorithm that he's put together that's looking at the meteorological data, and he's combining that with his knowledge of how Tropo works. And there's a whole page here about how the forecast maps actually were put together. He has a whole section here on his website about it. But this will show you on a scale, and you'll see here it goes from nothing, not really anything at all, which is the gray here, the background gray that you see up here, like North Dakota, South Dakota. And then you get the purples, greens, yellows, orange, up into reds, pinks, and whites. Those, as you go up, the strength of the Tropo becomes stronger. The duration of the Tropo is stronger. You get probably more distant Tropo as well. So the stronger that Tropo is, the more intense that opening is going to be. But you can also get some pretty good Tropo from like these marginal and fair, so the purples and the blues. You can still get some Tropo that way, okay? Now, another thing to know about Tropo, if you're not familiar, Tropo starts from the upper range of the band, the VHF band, and it works its way down to FM. Sporadic E is the opposite, right? It starts in the high HF, works its way up into low VHF, and keeps on rising as the MUF starts going up, gets it past 6 meters. Now we're getting into that old analog TV realm. And then we get to FM, right? Hopefully, if it continues to rise. Tropo is the opposite. It starts at like 220 megahertz, and it works its way down into the NOAA weather radio band, down into the 2 meter band, then it keeps on going down to FM. So just because there's Tropo conditions present doesn't mean FM is going to see Tropo conditions present. And I say that because you'll see this is the VHF APRS map. A lot of DXers will use this as a indicator of Tropo conditions because this is showing you 2 meter ham radio APRS, and it's showing if you're transmitting APRS, who's hearing you. And so it's showing these paths that might open up where you are being heard at a distance. And the greens are lower, smaller distances. Then you get to yellows, you get to reds. When you start seeing the reds on here, those are usually indicative of some good Tropo. And so, like right now, you have some folks here in the New Orleans area singing in Mobile. That's that Tropo scatter we talked about, probably, because that's this time of the year what you're going to see, especially around sunset. But if this is a big Tropo opening here in the Gulf, you'll see a bunch of red. You'll see red up and down the coast. That's usually indicative of distant Tropo type conditions. But that doesn't mean you're going to see it on FM. It means that it's happening on 2 meters, 144 megahertz. But maybe not FM. Go check. It's worth checking. Because if you don't check, you don't know. Or at least take a look at like your autologger maps. You can look at the actual like all tuners autologger map from Rabbit Ears. I'll put that here in the chat for you guys. So you can look at that. And you can see where is Tropo. I'm just going to take out the old stuff here and just look at the current new stuff. So all the ones that you see in black, if you start seeing those paths going crazy, that's usually indicative of a nice opening, either Tropo or maybe E-skip, whatever. But this can be a great way to spot those. Definitely, if there's some Tropo conditions happening on 2 meters, if you're a person who likes to do weather DX, NOAA weather radio, go check that out because you're probably getting something up there. I've had plenty of openings where I had NOAA weather radio, no FM, right? So some ways you can kind of keep an eye on it. We're going to look at the Tropo forecast tonight. I'm not going to go through it just yet because we're going to do our shout-outs. But we're going to look at the Tropo forecast. But just know that as we do, you're looking at these paths that kind of develop. So right now, for instance, look at some of the Tropo that's happening here. Now, there is a cold front that's coming. It's going to hit around Sunday, Monday. And it's probably, I'm guessing, up in this range, up in here, because we have this nice line that's going across here, right? And then out in front of it, you see some Tropo, but behind it, it's kind of cleared out. That's usually indicative of a front coming through. You're going to actually see, as we forward through here, watch it. You can actually just watch it clear out, the Tropo behind this front that's coming along. The nice straight line, it clears it out. Now, you'll get some little bursts like this. Like this is 1200 UTC, that 7 a.m. Monday morning. You're going to get that morning Tropo burst, right? Because it's around sunrise. But then the daytime comes in and it's gone. So this time of the year, it's you'll still see that clearing action happening, but it's not as dramatic as what we saw like last month, okay? So hopefully now you have an idea of what Tropo is, what causes it, and how it kind of operates. And you'll see hopefully that even if you're inland, there's opportunities, as we'll look when we do the forecast review later on, there are still opportunities for you guys who are inland to get in on the action with some Tropo, especially if you have some high pressure. So as you watch your nightly news and you watch the weather forecast, we'll have now some things to kind of keep an eye out for. High pressure heat domes, persistent high pressure heat domes that kind of lock in for a while. Those are usually good indicators. Cold fronts that are coming through. You can get actually Tropo that goes along the front frontal boundary and out ahead of it too. So front's coming through, especially if it's really, really warm and it's a little bit cooler on the back side of that. That's a great opportunity for some tropo. And you have this time of the year around the coasts. You have the really, really hot days. You have the cooler mornings, and you have the cooler evenings as things kind of start to cool off. Especially if you get a little bit of fog that burns off by midday or whatever. Make sure you're checking your tropo, right? So those are some little tips from your old friend Loyd, who loves him some tropo. All right, let's do some shout-outs.
Shout out loud, hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM, from sea to sea. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
Tim wants to know, when you record your catches, like audio recordings of a tropo duct, is that a duct tape? All right. Shout out time. Go to dxchallenges.com/shoutout. You can get yours in as well. We're going to read a couple off. We're going to do most of these here in the second hour. But we're going to go ahead and read a couple off now. But again, dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Get yours in, and we will celebrate with you as you let us know what you've been hearing on the bands. AM, FM, weather, DX, ham radio, shortwave, low band, NDBs, air band, whatever. Did you get some new gear? Did you learn a new skill? Let us know. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. We're going to start off with our friend Mexico Mike J down there in Mexico. And he says 1580 WPGK in Orangeburg, South Carolina, with an AM 1580, 92.9 FM ESPN Orangeburg. Log for state number 38 and AM number 700. Loggings that were between 601 and 700 for him, averaged between around 1,085 miles in distance. So he was getting in a little bit. He got a lot of the stuff early on that was like a little bit closer there in Mexico, but then the last 100 or so, he's branching out, getting stuff a little further out. Well done, my friend. So we got a new state for you, which means we got to fire off some fireworks. South Carolina is in the logbook from Mexico. And that's a good one. Orangeburg is a really, really good one. I heard them a couple weeks ago. We were all kind of sitting on 1580. I think it was when we first started the challenge, the frequency challenge. I got those guys, and that was good because I hadn't heard them since I left Charleston. And of course, we're going to saw a log here for you as well. Chicopee asks if I get Houston via Tropo. Yes, it is my most one of my most common. Because normally here in the Gulf, when we get Tropo, it's usually kind of centered around that area around Texas, from kind of Lake Charles, Louisiana, down along the Texas coast, Houston, Corpus, Galveston, down to the Mexican border, and right in kind of that area. That's where you'll usually see most of your Tropo kind of pushing inland, is on that end of the Gulf. And then if it builds up enough, we get in on that action, and we can start getting stuff to our southwest. So KKMY in Orange is always one of the first ones. KROI in Seabrook, that's another one on 92.1. Those are kind of the more common ones that will start showing up here in the Mandeville area when Tropo is open to that direction. When we're looking east, Tropo, Mobile, Pensacola, Tallahassee, that kind of thing. If we're getting really nice southeast, it's like Tampa. Those are the kind of the most common ones that we get here. The rarer stuff is more up and towards Arkansas, Oklahoma. I don't think I've gotten Oklahoma yet on Tropo. Definitely Arkansas, up north of Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama. Those are more rare. About once or twice a season, we might get into Georgia. A nice push all the way to Jacksonville into Georgia. But those are definitely, obviously, as well, more rare. Coming up next, we got our friend Jerry Hart up in New York. Jerry's got 3 logs here for us. 980 WJYK, sorry. Chase City, Virginia, 442 miles. 1380 WSYB in Rutland, Vermont, 299 miles. And 1360 WTAQ in Green Bay, Wisconsin, at 464 miles. And he's got a clip here for us as well of one of these. So let's go ahead and start off, though, with some log sawing for our friend Jerry. you go. Yeah, Mexico Mike says South Carolina was tough for him. That's a tough state. It's like Delaware. It's kind of tucked in. When I was a ham radio operator, well, I still am. When I was an active contester, when I was doing more contesting, I still do it. I just haven't done as much. But when I was a more active ham radio contester, I was in South Carolina. We were pretty popular in the contest. People really liked getting us because we were kind of not as prevalent. There you go. There's the clip from WTAQ in Green Bay for our friend Jerry. So well done, my friend. Great catches there from New York. Let's do one more, and then we'll save the rest for... Actually, let's go save the rest for our next hour. We don't have that many left here. Dave in Montana, Rick in Nebraska, Stuart up in Michigan. We're going to get you guys here in hour number 2. I want to take the rest of this hour, though, to talk about our new challenge that we're announcing, because this one is a doozy. So we're going to say goodbye to the AM challenges for the rest of the season between now and May 1st. We finished up strong with the frequency challenge. I think we wore you guys out. Lots of loss of sleep. You were amazing. Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Now we're going to switch over to the FM side of the things. And we're going to do something very similar to what we just did, but on a different band. That helps you kind of visualize what's coming. All right, so we're doing something very, very similar to what we just did on AM, but now we're going to do it for FM. And we're using this as our opportunity to make sure that all of us have a chance to get our FM Bandscan done before things start getting hot and heavy. All right, so this is the FM Bandscan Challenge. We've never done an FM-only challenge here at DX Central. This is our very first one. And I think you guys are going to like this because we have a new interface for you to use. So let me go ahead here. I'm going to go ahead and publish this so we can go ahead and put it up. If you are trying to still get logs entered for the frequency challenge, I'm going to give you a few moments here to go ahead and pull up the page, bookmark it, because I'm about to replace the links with our new challenge. Okay? While I talk about what this challenge is going to look like. So if you're still trying, Matt, Greg, if you're still trying to get some logs in, go ahead and pull the page up, bookmark it, get it up on your screen so you have time to get this entered before I go replace the links, okay? I'm going to go ahead and replace it on one page. Okay, the medium wave frequency challenge page. I'm not going to do it on the main page just yet. How about that? So you still have a few minutes to get this in. Okay. Let's talk about the FM Bandscan challenge. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this up on screen as well for you guys to take a look at with me. So this is our challenge page. This is running through the end, almost the end of the month. So through April 24th. We're going to wrap all the challenge stuff up on April 24th. So you've got a couple weeks in here to do an FM band scan of your local band, okay? From bottom to top to bottom. Every single frequency, whether DX is there or not, whether stations are there or not. You're going to notate what you got, okay? So, here is our new entry form. You start off by putting in your location information. You can use your grid square. You can use a city search. You can search for your city, or you can go ahead and just plug in your lat long if you'd rather do that. But I'm going to use my grid square, and I'm going to plug in my location. Hit enter, and now it's plugged my location in here. Now I'm going to go over here and put in my name, my city. Now it's going to populate my state because it used my grid square, my location that I just put in. And now I'm going to hit Remember Me. This little button right here that says Remember Me, I'm going to click on that, and it saved that. So now, as long as you don't clear like your cookies and your cache and all that kind of stuff, you shouldn't have to enter your name or your location again as we move forward here through this challenge. That should be locked in, and you'll note it up here. Now, if you get back here and it says your location's gone, just put your stuff back in, and you'll be fine. It should save it, though. It should save it. But here is how you're going to log stations. I'm so excited. What I've done to help you guys out is I have grabbed the station list information from the WTFDA. And we're very, very grateful that they have that available so we can do this. And so what you're going to be able to do here is you're going to be able to go in and pull up and filter down. Let's just do 91.5. And I'm going to filter this down for just stations on 91.5. And then I want to filter down for just U.S. stations. And I'm just going to filter here for stuff here in Louisiana, because I'm doing stuff here on my band, and I want to leave that filter for Louisiana. So here's all the stations on 91.5 in the state of Louisiana. Okay? So I'm pulling up, and I'm doing my band scan. I'm going through, and I'm like, okay, here's what I want to log. Over here on the left-hand side, once I've found the station that I've heard, you can also just enter the call sign if you'd rather do that, or the city, whatever works best. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on log. And once I've clicked on log, it's going to bring up a little form down here at the bottom. And with this form, all I have to do is the frequency is already put in. And this is why we're using the WTFDA data, by the way. We're using that so it'll populate the frequency, the station call sign, the station city, the station state, the country, their distance, which it's calculating based off your lat long that you put in. See why we're doing stuff, right? See why we're doing this? It's all going to be calculated for you here. It's already put into your entry form. The only thing that you would have to put in would be, did you decode RDS, yes or no? And if you did, just say yes. You don't have to tell me the code. We're going to grab that from this WTFDA station list as well. And then here's where Loyd is a little analytical. So I'm making this available for you if you want to be analytical like me. You have a category. Categorizing your frequencies is a super, super helpful thing to do. So we have different categories here, and I've also given you definitions. Now, you'll notice here this is kind of crunched in. You can also, you'll see right here it has a little button that says full screen. Just click on that, and it's going to take us full screen now. And I just have to, now I'm logged back in, and I'm going to go back to WTUL. And enter this in. Go ahead and do this log. Okay. So I click on it, brings up my log entry. Yes, I heard. I got an RDSD code. Here are your definitions. So, for instance, here, if it's an open frequency, there's nothing. No HD, no signals, nothing that needs to be overcome. It's just static when you go there. There's no local HD signal or anything. It's just a completely open frequency. That's what you're going to use. If you're on the fringe, so you've got a station there, it's weak. Like for me, it's 94.5 KSMB. We're fringe for them, unless you have a little bit of Tropo. So if it's a fringe station, it's a weaker station that can be overcome pretty easily by DX. There you go. You've got a local. Now, it can be local, it can be nearby, but it's, it's there, but it's not like prevalent. It's not like domination or anything like. It's a station. It might be like for me here in Mandeville, it's a station maybe in New Orleans, or like Galliano, WTIX down south, like something like that. Semi-local, they can be local, they can be regional, but it's a signal that's there, and it's a little difficult to overcome. I'm thinking of FMF for me here in Baton Rouge. It's a hard station. Like when there's openings, it's a difficult station to have replaced, even though it's 60 miles to my west in Baton Rouge. It's pretty strong. So that's what you talk about by semi-local. Even if it's kind of not local, but it's kind of far away, it's almost like it's a local station for you. Then we've got Open HD. These are your local stations in your market that are running HD sidebands on the IBOC on the frequencies off the side. Okay, so those HD sideband signals, they're pretty strong usually, and you have to have pretty strong DX to overcome them. So it sounds like an open frequency because it's just static, but if you're looking at your SE and you see those big blocks, that's not actually really an open frequency. That's an open frequency with HD. Now, you might have some stuff, if you have a strong enough signal, that might be able to come in on that, but it's just almost as bad as the actual strong station itself. So I categorize it that way, so I'm not thinking about that first when I'm looking at an opening to see if I need to go look for a DX station there. And then you have your strong locals. Like, come on, these are probably not going to be overcome unless it's the strongest of DX. When I'm going through my list of frequencies to check for DX, it's the last one I'm checking. I'm still going to check it because you never know, but it's the last one. I'm going to start with the open, work my way up from fringe, local, semi-local, open HD, and then strong local. That's kind of the order that I'm looking at. And so that's why categorizing your frequencies can be helpful for you to have a good blueprint of your band. So in this case, they're a local. It's actually possible for me to overcome this station here in Tulane, down the campus of Tulane University. It's pretty easy to overcome. Now, I did include a propagation field here because normally this is going to be local deadband DX that most of us are doing, but some of you might get a little Tropo. I don't want to discourage you from logging Tropo. The example though, that I'll use is, let's say I go tonight and I'm DXing and I've got Tropo on a frequency. Tonight and tomorrow I'm DXing and I got Tropo. And then Sunday happens, cold front comes through, and now one of those stations where I log some Tropo, now it's an empty frequency. I don't have anything on 92.1 anymore. Well, now I want to go back in and relog that 92.1 as an open frequency, right? So that is, and I'm going to talk about that here in a bit as we look through this Bandscan part. But this gives you an opportunity, if you do experience some DX conditions, to log the propagation method that brought that to you. Again, distance will be auto-calculated. Signal in dBm. Even on your open frequencies, if it's a strong station, weak station, you don't have to, but I recommend documenting your signal strength, like -64, -102, or whatever it might be, even on your open frequencies, because that will tell you, if you're using the radio you're going to DX from in the summertime, if I know that normally on 92.1 it's a -110 dBm, and I go look on 92.1 and it's a -92, either I'm getting some noise or something's there. Like some kind of signal is starting to come in, because normally it's a weaker signal strength on that frequency, right? So that's why I'm suggesting that as well. And then the final two here, in order to encourage you guys to use the tools that are available, we talked about this last week, FM List and WLogger, I would like to encourage you guys to enter your logs on those two platforms as well. If you do, now, if you're not really chasing points here, don't worry about it. Whatever. It's up to you. I encourage you to still do this because it's going to be helpful for you when you get to the FM sporadic E season. It's going to be to be familiar with both of those interfaces. It's going to behoove you to do that. But if you want to chase some points, each one of these will get you 10 bonus points. Okay, so we're doing a quota for frequency. You want to get one logged event, whether it's a station or not, one logged event on every frequency. So if you have an open frequency, logging that it's an open frequency counts. And how do you do that? I'm going to show you that here in a bit. So logging that it's an open frequency counts as a logged event for that frequency. So there's your one. You get 10 points for every frequency that you log an event on. Okay? For any reception that you log where you have submitted to FM List, as you've checked that, regardless if it's a local, if it's Tropo, if it's your first catch on a frequency, your 100th catch on a frequency, doesn't matter. Every time you click that checkbox and submit your log, that's 10 bonus points. Same thing with the WLogger. Every time you submit that, that's an extra 10 bonus points. And we're only talking about logs that are occurring during this time frame of the DX the challenge, which is between now, and I know we're top of the hour, but we're switching gears here, so top of the hour is not as important with FM. So WLogger and FM List, we're talking about stuff that you're logging during the duration of this contest between now and the 24th of April, okay? So if you have stuff that you logged previously, doesn't matter. Like if you've already logged it on FM List, but you're logging it again for this challenge, I still want you to go in and get some practice at FM List. I still want you to get practice at going up to WLogger and submitting your logs, right? That way you're sharing what you're hearing. You can then now take that log that you've put up on FM List and export that out and make a map out of it. You can do the same thing at WLogger. I want you getting used to all those features that are available to you on these interfaces, okay? So if you submit to those two, you get those 10 bonus points each time for each one of those. And then you hit submit log and woohoo, there you go. That's that, okay? That's how you submit it. You don't have to put in the time, the date, those are going to, date and time are going to automatically populate. Now, if I'm doing a recording review and I am saying, actually, this was yesterday, I can change that, right? I can change that to be now my UTC date and time that I actually received it. So I don't have to, if like I'm doing live DX and I'm just wanting to use whatever the time is currently right now, it's going to put that in there. But if I'm doing a recording review, you're going to want to change your date and time to whatever the time and date was of the reception. And again, these are only receptions from now until April 24th. Got it? Let me give you the goal here, because there's going to be questions. People are going to have some questions. Let me give you the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish here. I'm trying to do three things. Three things I want to accomplish with this challenge. The number one most important thing I want to accomplish in this challenge is I want every single one of us that has any interest. If you've never FM DX before, this is the time to get to learn it. I want every single one of us to be familiar with our local FM band from top to bottom, from bottom to top. Okay? I want you to know on every single frequency if there's a station there, who it is, what format do they have, what's their slogan, what signal strength do I usually see them at. When we get some details about what can I expect from that station. So if I'm sitting on 107.9, and I know that's Kicker 108 out of Mississippi up the road from me, and they play country music, and I go to 107.9, and now I have Tejano music, I know there's DX happening. But if I don't know that country music is what I would normally hear there, I might hear the Tejano and not have any idea, right? So this is how you're going to be able to spot these openings. Like I said earlier, if I know 92.1 is normally an open frequency for me, and it is here, and normally it's around negative 110 dBm, if I go look on 92.1 and I'm hearing something, or I'm seeing like it's still staticky, but like there's something there kind of weak, and it's around negative 92 dBm, now I know something's trying to come through. Let me pay attention. Let me do a little extra lean in here. Something's going on. So number one goal here, the spirit of this challenge, is I want you to know every single frequency, whether there's a station there or not. I want you to know what each frequency on your local FM band has. And even if you knew it last year, we've all seen that can change. We've all had experiences. I've had it last year where suddenly 89.5 went from my best open frequency to now I have a local station on it. 104.1 went from a station in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, to now it's over by Baton Rouge, and the station in Hattiesburg moved to New Orleans on 103.7 and added HD on 103.5 and 103.9. I just lost 3 frequencies with that one move, okay? So, and those were all 3 very good frequencies for me. I've lost 3 frequencies with that move to bringing that station to New Orleans. So it's time to refresh yourself with your local band. Even if you're like, I know my band, I don't need... No, you need to refresh. Formats change. Slogans change. Stations move in and out of markets. They move around frequencies. These things will change. There's a station WRBH, Reading for the Blind, here in New Orleans. My first season I was here, they were not on the air. The next season, there they were. They were back. They had been historically there, but they were not there for whatever reason during that first season. Then they were back the next. So I lost 88.3, right? So these are the kinds of things. Or maybe a station is now stronger than it used to be for you. Like, you know that there's a 88.1 out of Plaquemines, Louisiana for me with American Family Radio, but now they were stronger than they were last year. Last year they were easy to get rid of. Now they're not so much. Or maybe it's the vice versa. So that's what this spirit of this FM Bandscan challenge is to do, is to make sure that every single one of us knows our entire FM band from top to bottom, bottom to top, every single frequency where the holes are, because those open frequencies are the first place you should check during a sporadic key opening. Those fringe stations are the next layer of the frequencies where you should be checking different a sporadic key opening. Then your local, right? And then going back up the rest of those categories we looked at. So that's the spirit. The second 2 goals, number 2 and number 3, I want you to be familiar with FM List and W Logger. Look, my good friend Les Rayburn in Alabama, I will use him as an example. For years, I was talking about how great FM List was, and he was like, it's hard to use. I don't really like it. And then last year he tried it out and actually just spent some time getting used to it. And he was like, oh my God, I was wrong. I was wrong, Loyd, you were right. And I'm not trying to do I was right kind of thing, but I'm saying FM List is that good. So is WLogger, for that matter. They're both quick, fast, easy ways that you can put your log out there for DXers to know that an opening is or is not, or whatever may be happening, right? And you also have access to be able to take that data after the fact and do something with it. So I want every single one of you who watched this live stream, there's quite a few of you here every week, and I appreciate that. My gift back to you is going to be insisting that, hey, if you like this stuff that we do here at DX Central, if you've listened to me say anything over the past however many months we've been doing Season 6, go spend some time familiarizing yourself with FM List and WLogger and learning how to submit logs, how to navigate the WTFDA station database, the FM List station list, how to submit logs from those different areas, how to use the chat conversation piece in WLogger, how to look at the map, how to filter things. If you click on live versus stale or what kind of propagation mode you're doing on WLogger, on FM List, what fields you need to fill out because you don't have to do them all. You don't have to do all the fields in FM List. There's a couple that you're going to want to do, and I'm going to show you the quick way that I do it, and I'm in and out of there in 5 seconds or less per log. It used to take me a lot longer, and then I was like, bump that, I'm going to do this a lot quicker, and I figured out the quick way to doing it. And now, if I'm doing my recording review, bloop, 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 done. I'm out. FM List log. WLogger, doop, doop, bloop, done. It's actually a little quicker on FM List. But both of those are extremely valuable to make sure that more people know about that opening, which all of us should embrace that. So those are my 3 things. So if you're asking yourself, how should I approach this situation? Those are the 3 guideposts that should guide you along your way. If you still have questions, obviously reach out to me on Slack. I'm here. Shoot me an email, whatever. See me on social media. I'll be posting on social media. Just send your questions over my way. I'm more than happy to answer. But the guideposts that should be guiding you here are those 3 spirit of the challenge things we're trying to accomplish. Knowing your band inside and out, every single frequency, and then getting used to those 2 interfaces so you're ready for the upcoming season, okay? Let me look at the manual entry. So I've mentioned that you'll also want to submit an event, logging an event, an outcome, even if you have an open frequency. Well, if I'm logging based off of, I find the station on the station list and I click on log, what if if I'm not logging a station, how do I do it? There's a manual entry mode right here for if you are logging a station that's not on our station list, because there may be some, or if you're logging an open frequency. This is where you would come to manual mode. And once I engage manual mode, you'll see it clears out all that information that we had before with WTUL and all that stuff. So now I choose what frequency I'm logging. So let's say it's 88.5. And then I do, for call, if I'm doing an open frequency, I leave call sign, station, country, state, all that blank. Distance is blank because there's nothing there. I do my date and time. I do my signal strength, so let's just say it's like negative 110 dBm. And there may be some of you that are like, I use dBUV or some other DBF or dBm. Let's get on this bandwagon. dBm is the way to go. RDSD code, obviously that'd be a no. Category, you're going to be choosing open because there's nothing there. You're choosing an open. You did not log a station. You're going to be choosing an open category. Obviously, you're not going to be doing the FM List or WLogger on these logs because there's nothing to submit. So that you don't have to worry about. And you don't have to worry about any of this other stuff. The propagation is just local because you're not getting any kind of propagation in there. You just have to focus on the frequency, your signal strength, and your category. Those 3 things, hit submit, you're done. And those 10 points will be awarded to you because you have an outcome for that frequency. Again, the goal here is at least 1 outcome for every frequency. You don't have to limit yourself to 1, but at least 1 for every frequency. With the idea that at the minimum, you should have every single frequency notated of what your local dead band looks like, whether it's an open frequency or a station is there. Right? If you're in an area that doesn't get a lot of Tropo, doesn't get any other kind of exotic DX going on in the next couple of weeks, and you're just getting dead band conditions, and you have a very open band like Randy Zeller out in Nevada, this band scan should not take him long. He should probably be able to get through here and get that band scan done pretty quick because it's going to be just a lot of open frequencies and not a lot of other stuff in there, and then that's it. So here, let me show you some other cool things about this challenge that I want to make sure you also kind of see. So you can also go in once you have started submitting some entries and you've got some logs entered in. I'm going to clear my filters here. So clear all filters will get rid of all the filtering that we've done up here. What you can also do is you can filter by status. So I'm going to go over here to logged only. And this is going to now show you any stations that I have logged. Right? So any stations you have logged, if you filter by logged only, you're going to see those. And when you are going through, as you're making your way through all these logs, you're going to notice that anything you've logged is going to have a little green little ball right here next to the call sign. That is the indicator icon that says you've already got this one. And if I try to relog that station again, it's going to actually say, hey, that's a dupe. You've already logged them. You've already logged this station. You don't need to do it again. You've already logged it. But you'll also have the little green icon, so you should be able to remember that, hopefully. Once you have gone through, you can also, once you've gotten all this stuff done, you've logged all your open frequencies, all the stations, everything is put in, you can go up here and click on Export Logs, and you'll get a CSV file that you can import into Google Sheets or Excel or whatever, it's a spreadsheet file that you can import in, and now you've got your band scan. You've got a document, a living document that says, this is a snapshot of what my band looks like right now. There's your band scan. Done. See how great this is? See how amazing this is? You'll still have, on the actual band scan page, you'll still have the data dashboard here, like we always do. We do have the progress monitor, so you can look at your frequencies to see which ones you haven't logged an event for yet. The score tracker will be here. You'll have your submitted loggings like we do, your usual counters. Like all this stuff is there as we always do. I did add one more thing down here at the very bottom, just trying this out, is a heat map. So this is going to show a heat map, and right now it's just New Orleans because that's the only log that's in there. But it's going to be a zoomed out heat map that shows all the logs, and you can filter by your name, so you can see where your logs are coming from. You can filter by propagation if you want to see Tropo versus local, if you're getting some different kind of DX, right? So this heat map is going to be there for you to be able to see where the DX is located. Where are people hearing? And you can see everybody. You can also filter by your own name as well. So you'll just see just your stuff. So a little thing that I've added in there. There you go. All right. So the FM Bandscan challenge is now open. We've got a bunch of stations so you can go here now. You've got access. You don't have to do a bunch of entry. The station list is there for you. It's already populated. All you have to do is just find the station you want to log it. If you're logging an open frequency, go down here to manual entry and log it that way. We talked about that. Make sure you've got your location set. It won't let you do anything until you've done that, by the way, because it has to have your lat long and your name to be able to submit a log, and the lat long calculates a distance. Yay. All right, so there you go. We're going to do the FM Bandscan challenge between now and April 24th. Let's take a quick break and give me a chance to recuperate the pipes here. When we come back, we are going to do some more look at band scans. We're going to look at my band scan, and we're going to actually start doing our band scan here. We got more of your shout outs to get to. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading your way. And it's heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
It's coming like a ghost town. All the sunspots have fallen down. I spin the dial from the left to the right. No propagation anywhere inside. This band
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Loyd Van Horn.
Back on the shelf. Why must the youth fight against the noise when the sun steals all our toys? This band, there's nothing but dead air. This band, there's no one talking there.
And Solar Minimum. Another one of those tracks I've been bouncing around to all week. All right. It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana. You're dang right, Rick. Dang right I'm grooving. Love that track. I like the remixes we did of it too, but something about that original track with the big horns, just kind of find myself bouncing around the house. I've been singing it now for weeks and weeks, just bounce. This band, nothing but dead air. And we've been there, right? Hopefully not a lot this summer. Hopefully we won't be bouncing around to that song this summer. I'd rather be bouncing around to another. See, we have to make a good E-skip song. A really good one here. Like a big, like, E-skip. I know we have the one about there's an E-skip opening and I'm hurrying home to get home, right? It's kind of a big production song. I know we have that one, but I want to do another E-skip song. Okay. We are now into FM Bandscan Challenge, and we spent a lot of time here at the end of the last hour talking, and beginning of this one, talking about the FM Bandscan Challenge. We're going to get back to that here in a moment. But before we do, I think it's important that we spend a little time talking about your shout-outs.
Shout out loud, hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM to C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
We've got a bunch of Tropo songs. We've got several Tropo songs. Well, I don't think we have any. I mean, we have a couple of little E-skip songs, but like that one. But we need a good E-skip song. I'm gonna have to work on that. All right, your shout-outs, just get those in. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Let us know what you've been hearing on the bands, AM, FM, weather band, what have you, whatever. We're not picky here. We just appreciate good DX. DX is what we're after. Distant stations, ideally. But even if it's some stuff that's like nearby, that's still good enough. If it's something you haven't heard before, especially, that's good enough. New gear, new skills. That's what we're looking for. Take care, Cass. And hola, mamacita. See you in there as well. Start off with Dave, our friend Dave. I know he's watching from the couch. Hey, Dave, up in Montana. Sends a shout out in. I added a 470 ohm resistor to the 1K potentiometer on my 10 by 20 foot terminated broadband super loop for finer tuning. I got a good back null onto a strong local to the south at 183 degrees, 970 kBUL. Love that, man. I love when we have those antennas in place. We have our gear in place. We have our equipment in place. But we're like, no, if I just make a tweak here, if I just trade out that resistor for this resistor, this variable resistor for that fixed value, maybe I can tune in and get a better null and get the station over here. I love when we do that. I love when we do that. I then reversed the loop so that my termination was to the north. Now he's looking to the south and nulling to the north. And the feed point was pointed at 160 degrees, which is straight into the center of Mexico. I can see where this is going. With this setup, I logged 1090 XEPRS La Voz in Rosarito, Baja California Norte, at 1,030 miles, and 1570 XERF La Porosa in Ciudad Acuña at 1,206 miles. And Coahuila is a new Mexican state for our friend Dave. Listening for anthems at 0500 and 0600 UTC has been a lot of fun. You were paying attention. I've attached a clip of the anthem ending and the ID at 1090 XEPRS so you can hear how well the Super Loop picks up now. I'm also logging a lot of previously unheard stations in Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, while suppressing the big guns to the north and off to the sides. Remember, he's up in Montana, so we're talking about all stuff that's now down to his south, stuff that he has not heard before because those stations to his north were kind of pushing him out of the way. So again, making improvements to our setup. If you're finding that you're stuck and you can't hear certain stations you want to hear, sometimes we have to get in there and play around with our setup a little bit and use some stuff that we haven't done before. And that's exactly what he's done, and it's working for him. I'm going to have fun pointing the Super Loop in different directions to see where I can log, and I may also add some wire to it to make it 15 by 50 feet like Loyd mentioned in the previous broadcast. You're going to love it, bud. You're going to love that bigger, more capture area. More wire, more capture area, bigger signals. Much thanks to everyone on the channel for the tips, especially Rick, K9AO in Newport Richey, Florida, and Loyd. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you, bud. So we got a clip here of XEPRS from Baja California Norte.
Esta es XFRS 1090 AM, transmitiendo con 50.000 watts de potencia, una programación de poder y proclamación del Evangelio. Desde Rancho del Mar, playas de Rosarito, llegando a Los Ángeles, San Diego, Tijuana y ciudades adyacentes, conectando a todos con el propósito de Dios, porque la fe viene por el oír.
There we go. I mean, that's gorgeous. And, I mean, effectively, a terminated delta loop like that, or a super loop, delta loops are the CAS, but a terminated delta loop or a terminated like super loop like that, effectively, those are. It's just as good as like a Yagi is on FM, man. It's you're killing everything to the backside of you that you don't want. You're laser beam focusing in a lot of ways, to an extent, the stuff on the front side that you do want, and pulling all that in. And you can get some really great stuff that way. And Dave is a testament to that. So we got to start by celebrating a new Mexican state for you, because that, my friends, is always a great day. And we got the new Latin American logs in there as well. So Baja California wasn't a new state, but it's a new log form from Latin America. And he got those logs down in Colorado, Wyoming, Utah. You lucky duck. So there you go. And he's got the new gear as well to boot. So new gear, new results. It's absolutely awesome to see when someone's like, you know what? I'm looking at my logbook right now. That's why I love data analysis of our logbooks, because it's a methodical way to get more stuff in your logbook. It actually helps you by spending just a little bit of time putting it together and then doing the analysis, looking at your logbook, being like, I haven't got a whole lot of stuff. And I just did this the other day. We were in the Slack channel, myself and Tim Trump and some other folks. We were talking about, I had my heat map of stations that I have received. We were talking about antenna directions and stuff like that. And I was looking at my heat map of all the AMDX locations, like city-state locations, country, that I have heard here from Mandeville. And I noticed something. I noticed I had a really big hole and a gap right there in kind of like northern Mexico around Coahuila, Sonora, into Arizona. I have a really big gap right there. And that's because that's one of the few directions I cannot put up an antenna, like a CAS or a super loop. I can get relatively close at 263 degrees, but that's still pretty far south. Like that's almost pointing at Baja California Sur from here. I think it is pointing at Baja California Sur. So it's 263 is down low for me. It's way down, because even due west from New Orleans, due west 270 degrees is still Mexico. by the time you get all the way to like California. It doesn't get to LA. LA is about 285 degrees from here. So when I'm looking at that gap that I had on my heat map, I was like, oh man, I have a big gap right there around Arizona. And that's because that 285 degrees, I don't have anywhere in my yard that I can put up a super loop, CAS, or some sort of terminated loop antenna in that direction. That's why that is my weak spot. The only thing that I have really in that direction is any of the big 50 kilowatters out of LA. And I think one out of San Diego. And XCPRS, which is a big gun as well. But nothing else. Those big guns right there along the coast in San Diego, LA, and just the two in LA. One in San Diego, and then the one in XCPRS. That's it. Everything else that I have is all off of those bearings. It's just kind of a gap right there where Arizona, Sonora, Coahuila, all that is. And that's why I'm missing out on those guys. Because I can't put up a antenna in that direction here at my location. So if I'm going to do anything with that, I've got to get creative. I've got to find a creative way maybe to do a portable operation or something that I can do where I can go somewhere and put something up and try that direction out. So, all right. Well done, Dave. Next up on the list, we have our friend Rick up in Nebraska. He's drummer 1965 USA. Drummer 1965 USA in the chat is our friend Rick. Says, hello, Loyd. 2 new logs here since last Friday. Both were heard on Monday of this week. 2:56 Central Time, I got the EAS tones and the weekly test of KILT in Houston, Texas on 610 under the audio from Megapest KFNZ in Kansas City. Yeah, they are. This was Texas logging number 86 here. And then at 2:23:52 Central Time on Monday night, I was parked on 1550, trying for Bristol, Tennessee's Bluegrass on WIGN, a station that's been known in the past to run the day stick after dark. No WIGN was heard, but I did get a nice consolation prize with this ID, AM 1550 WJIL and WIVO HD3 Jacksonville. It almost sounded like they ran an illegal ID just a few minutes ago. WJIL was a new catch here for Illinois logging number 70 at the South Omaha QTH. Well done, my friend. Well done. 2 new logs in the logbook, Texas and Illinois. Well done, my man. There you go. I think Sonora is also one of my missing ones, if I remember right, Rick. Well done. And see, again, this is strategy, right? He's like, okay, I know this station typically is going to be on after dark, so let me target them. He didn't get them, but he got another station as a result. Strategy. Well, a lot of times we shotgun blast this DX thing, and that can work, especially for your first 500, 600 stations. You can shotgun blast those the first 500, 600 stations with relative ease. Once you clear up above that, though, you a lot of times need to start getting more strategic in targeting and developing strategies for how am I going to get these stations that I don't have yet. So well done to our friend Rick up in Omaha for doing exactly that and getting stuff in his logbook. And our next shout out comes from our friend Stuart. Just about up in Michigan. He's W8SRC in the chat. Just about ready to shift gears in FM and NOAA weather radio almost exclusively this week. Not too many new logs, but I did manage to get 2 logs on both broadcast bands this week. I'm not going to beat the AM dead horse that I did earlier. You get it. Before making the transition, I wanted to try my hand at Sunrise Greyline DX for the first time ever. So I decided to take a crack at this past Wednesday morning with several rarely heard Skywave stations as well as one confirmed new station. WVTF, it's 1260 WWVT in, WVTF Music, 1260 WWVT in Christiansburg, Virginia, 393 miles. I didn't want to partake in my last regular AMDX session of the season last night without getting something new in the log. I didn't expect it, though, to be from Mexico. Stereo 1000 XEOY in Mexico City at 1,819 miles, thanks to a tip from Jacob Hammond. How many? I mean, I've got every one of mine in my logbook. When I get a station because of a tip from Jacob, I always say thanks to a tip from Jacob or Rick or whoever the tip is from. I would love to now go in there and sort my logbook for all the ones that I have logged, thanks to a tip from Jacob, and just see how many you have put in my logbook, buddy. Because it's not a small number. You've done a lot for me, man. I appreciate that. I additionally tried as best I could to go up to the top floor of my apartment building whenever even a slight hint of Tropo appears in the short-range forecast, and that gave me a new station this past Wednesday morning, Annunciation Radio, WRRO 89.9 in Eden, Ohio, 73 miles over a strong semi-local. See, again, there's a semi-local, strong station. You got to do something different to get that out of the way and get a new station. Let me look for some Tropo. Let me get higher up and see if I can get there. Like when I went down to the lake, sometimes moving your location gets you a different result, especially on FM. Different height, different location, getting away from buildings out into a little more open area, because FM signals sometimes will hit those trees and those buildings and not your antenna. It happens. However, despite dominantly getting regional Tropo for the Grand Rapids area on FM and NOAA Weather Radio, I'm really glad that I decided to look for much further Tropo on the UHF band, because that netted my second ever reception of the KA9VZD repeater on 442.6 in Trevor, Wisconsin at 224 miles. I also decided to go to a low noise park in my area just this afternoon. We need more of those. We need more low noise parks for DXers to go sit and DX and hopefully not have to answer a bunch of questions or get weird looks from neighbors. We need more. We need like DX parks. We have dog parks. Why can't we have some more DX parks? Let's see. I received an 88-watt translator with full RDS over top of my much more powerful semi-local, which I was excited to add to my logbook. That's Smile FM 103.9 W28OEL in Yates, Michigan at 31 miles. These catches bring my Ann Arbor totals to 447 FM and 78 NOAA weather radio stations. Well done, man. Well done. Love the strategy, love the initiative of trying to get something that you don't normally get and not just sitting at home and lamenting, why do I not get anything but this one station? Move around a little bit. Bob and weave. That'll get you some DX. So log salt time for our friend Stuart for new ones in the log. Rick says, my DX park for FM is usually the top floor suite in a multi-floor hotel. Yeah. If you can get high up and away from noise, that's what you want to do. I get Sportsman's Guide catalogs. I like to buy military surplus stuff, especially the military surplus bags. They're great for DX portable stuff. They also recently had some 22 gauge communications wire military surplus that I was able to pick up, 656 feet. But I saw this one. It was like a 50-foot deer stand. It looked like a fire tower. You ever seen like those 100-foot fire towers where you have the big ladder, you climb up all the way to the top, you have a little room and a little roof over top of you. They use it for like fire watchouts. They had it's like a 50-foot tall fire tower / deer stand for hunters that you could go stand on the top of this thing. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I could put an FM antenna on top of that thing with a push-up pole, and now that 50 feet becomes like 60, 70 feet. That's where my brain goes when I see stuff like that. And then I was over here like, I wonder if you can buy like a fire tower or lease one out or get permission to go use one, like imagine like a 100-foot fire tower. Take an omnidirectional or like one of those like handheld arrow antennas, but it's the FM Yagi that we were talking about last week. Like do like a 3 or 4 element handheld or something on like a little tripod stand or something. Put that at 100 feet, NXP Nano or some other small little portable TEF radio, and just sit there in DX. Mount Mitchell was a fantastic one when I was in North Carolina. Mount Mitchell DX was legendary. I mean, there you're almost DXing from an airplane, right? So that's where my brain goes. So if you're able to get up, higher up, through a deer stand or a fire tower, fire observation tower, or top of a building, if you can get up away from the noise and higher line of sight, that's going to change what you get on the FM band every time. Every time. Well done, Stuart, my friend. Love the drive, love the effort. Next up, we have a new shout out that just came in, and this is from a new contributor. So, greetings and welcome to Joe Roth in Louisiana, he says. So, welcome, Joe, my friend. Glad to have you here with us on the show and submitting your shout outs, and love to be able to celebrate with you. So, first, we say welcome. We blow the horn of victory for you, my friend, for just being here. And this log is... Be very quiet. I'm hunting FMs. Yes, that's exactly. Joe checks in here in Louisiana and saying, recorded a legal ID from 93.9 KMXR in Corpus Christi on March 13th. That was a great DX day. Using my outdoor dipole antenna at home just north of us. Here, I'm in Mandeville. He's just north of me up in Covington. All right. My man. That was his first Texas log ever on FM. 93.9 KMXR in Corpus Christi on March 13th. Getting his first Texas. Man, you're going to love it. Stick around for that. We got Tropo season here, my friend. So that dipole, that outdoor dipole, is going to get some work. And I'm going to show you some online receivers that you can use to kind of monitor if conditions are looking good. That we have here in Mandeville, and that way you can go run over to your receiver and your dipole and get some good stuff. And he also has a air check here for us of KMXR. Let's take a listen.
KMXR Corpus Christi, an iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human, Big 93.9.
Awesome. I think I actually heard that station that night on the 13th because I remember that Guaranteed Human. That might have been somebody else. It might be an iHeart thing, but I did hear that. So we've got to, we welcome you with the Horn of Victory, but now we got to saw some logs here for you. For the log, and we've got to celebrate your first Texas FM log. That's a new state, brother. So we fire off some fireworks here for you at DX Central Live. From the metropolis of Covington. Just to my north. There you go. Welcome, Joe. Glad to have you here with us. Appreciate you bringing in the shout out here with us as well, giving us a chance to celebrate with you. And like I said, stick around. I hope you're going to be here for the next several weeks. We're going to be talking a lot about FM DX, and I'm going to be throwing out a lot of examples of what we get here in the Mandeville area, St. Tammany Parish, because we get some good stuff here with the Gulf. Speaking of, we're doing our FM Bandscan challenge, which I definitely, Joe, would invite you to join in, because that's going to be worth your while to really know our local band, because it's pretty sweet. Let's talk about some FMDX stuff, and I want to point you as well, Joe, and anyone who wants to experience DX from here in the Gulf South, especially as it comes to FM Tropo. Go to livedxing.com. We're going to throw this here into the chat. Thanks, y'all. Yeah, that's one I don't forget. Joe Man 7791 in the chat. There you go, man. Glad to have you here. Definitely hope you come back again. So go to livedxing.com and then scroll down. You'll see we have a couple of receivers here. We have two Kiwi SDRs for folks who are doing AM, DX, or HF, ham radio, shortwave, communications, military communication, utility stuff like that. We have two that we have here. The Shortwave Central Kiwi, which is the big one looking at Latin America, that you guys know is just an absolute magnet. We're going to talk about that one here in a minute because it came through for us this week, that big antenna, getting Uruguay. And then our Kiwi we have here at DX Central with our assortment of antennas. We have several antennas plugged into that one. Right now, they're all pointing south except for the vertical, which is just an omnidirectional vertical antenna. So AM, DX, shortwave, HF, all of that. We have two Kiwi SDRs here for you that you can take advantage of to hear conditions from here in Mandeville. They're really, really good. Antennas on those, super sensitive, super quiet, not a lot of noise. We tried to do our best to mitigate the noise with common mode chokes and low noise power supplies and things like that on those. So they work pretty well. Then on the FM side, we have actually now three. We have three FM receivers that you can take advantage of, each paired with a very unique antenna. And I'm looking at adding a fourth, by the way. I want to add one more online receiver from here in Mandeville, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The original TEF DX receiver that we have is here right behind me in the shack here in Studio A. This is paired with a log periodic. It's a 4-element N of antennas, log periodic at 33 feet up in the air. So this one, I turn it wherever the DX is coming from. Right now it's pointing southwest because that's where most of our Tropo, again, does come from here is the southwest towards Texas and Mexico. So that one is a really good one. Wherever the DX is happening, it should be pointing in that direction. So if that is during the summertime when we have sporadic E openings, we're getting something up into the Northeast, up into Michigan, down into Mexico, the Caribbean, wherever it might be, that one's going to be pointed wherever the DX is. So that's a really good one to kind of know where the DX is coming from at any given time here in the Mandeville area, especially for Gulf Tropo. We have another one here. This one is our headless one. This one is just USB plugged in. Oops, let me go back so you can see it. Our headless one, this one is paired with actually two antennas, and you can swap between them. We have our Stereo Probe 9-element Yagi. Right now it's at about 12 feet. I want to get a little bit higher, but I'm kind of experimenting with a lower elevation Yagi to see how those work. And we also have a S antenna. It's one of those that's kind of shaped like... it's at 21 feet, just under 22 feet. So you can swap between those two. It works really, really well as well, especially that S antenna for Tropo. And then our newest addition here to our family of online receivers is the Shortwave Central Kiwi. This is right around the corner from us over at Shortwave Central at Mamacita's house. This is another TEF. This is actually the DP666 TEF radio that we have on there. Actually, this is the desktop. The TEF DP666 is our auto logger. That's right. This is on a desktop TEF, and this is paired with a homebrew folded dipole, omnidirectional, oriented vertically to make it omnidirectional, so it's not directional horizontally. It's omnidirectional by being vertical, and it's at 65 feet high. As Joe can attest to, here in the North Shore of Louisiana, across the lake from New Orleans, we have a lot of really tall pine trees. And this is one of those, and we have this antenna at 65 feet up in the air, and it is fantastic. We also have that same antenna paired with an auto logger. This is that auto. You can ignore this as a false decode here in Montana, but this is that auto logger, and this is the last 24 hours what this auto logger has seen in dead band conditions, pretty much, other than a little bit of Tropo that we had here yesterday morning. But mostly dead band conditions. This is what this auto logger has seen in the last 24 hours here at 65 feet up. We also have another auto logger that's operational right now. We have two others that are not operational. I'm working on getting those back up and running. But this one is an auto logger that's paired with a TEF right behind me, and it's on a dipole. Kind of like Joe was saying, he's got an outdoor dipole. This is an outdoor dipole at 21 feet. This is the antenna that I'm going to be putting another FM web server on. It's going to be this one, the same one that this auto logger. So we'll have two, actually technically three auto loggers that the auto logger itself, you can see what that antenna is seeing and then go DX off of it from a web server. So 3 of the 4 web servers we're going to have here, you'll actually be able to DX off of the same antenna that you can actually see what it's been seeing. So you can see our logs with that antenna, the auto logs, and then go, wow, that's getting some stuff. Go DX off that antenna. Pretty cool, huh? So, livedxing.com. All 3 of those are there, and we add the new one. We'll add it down here as well. So, livedxing.com, and that will bring you to our web servers. So, here's the first one. This is the log periodic. Okay, and then we have Shortwave Central with the omnidirectional at 65 feet, and then the headless with our 2, we have the S antenna and the 9-element Yagi there. So if you're wanting to take advantage of those and do some Gulf Tropo DX, or when we have sporadic E openings, they're there for you guys to DX off of. Reminder that when you change the frequency, you're changing it for everybody. So when you go there and you pull up one of the web servers, hang out for a minute or two, see if anybody's dialing around. If nobody's changing frequency, if nobody's really DXing, then you can go ahead and change frequencies or the changing the antenna on this headless one. But if someone's tuning around and kind of dialing around a bit, you may want to give them a chance to do their DX. Don't take advantage. Just kind of sit back and relax. They're probably going to come across some DX that you're going to want to hear anyway. So definitely do that. Every once in a while, this one I will lock down and I will take over tuning on that and lock it out so only I'm tuning. But I'm going to be tuning where the DX is. So if you want to hear what we're hearing as far as DX goes, I'll be doing that. And then once I'm done, I'll unlock it. Then you can go do what you need to do from there. But every once in a while, I'll take over the top of this one, and I'll usually say it in the chat like, "Hey guys, I'm taking over here, tuning for you." And so I'll be looking at open frequencies because this one has such a unique look at that 65-foot height. That's why. The other ones, like this one, the log periodic is on my ELAD, so I'm good. This one, the 9-element Yagi is on one of my other SDRs. I'm good. This one, though, the only radio that this one is the autologger and this web server, the only ones tied to that 65-foot high antenna. So this is kind of my spotter. So every once in a while, I will lock that one down. All right, let's get back to Bandscans. So we're doing the Bandscan challenge. We've talked about the entry form and how you would submit logs here. We talked about where then you have your leaderboard so you can kind of see. And Matt's already submitted the log, so you guys are already behind. Matt's already got the lead. Yeah, he's already got his stuff in here. So there, yeah, you can track your progress. You can see over here if you filter down by your name, you can see what frequencies you have logged already and which ones you have not logged in outcome on. Remember, the goal here is not just logging in actual stations. That's important because you want to know where the stations are, how strong they are, what format they are, and all that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, when you submit your log for a station, the station format, the station slogan, the PI code for RDS, all that from the WTFDA database imports into the log. So when you export, because we looked at that earlier, right? If I go over here and I just say, I want to see what I've logged, when you do that and then you export your logs, all that data goes with it. All that data, the format, the slogan, the PI code, location of the station, all of that gets transported into your Bandscan. So when you have that, you have the entire Bandscan at your disposal. Pretty cool, right? The power's on there as well, so you'll have that full data set for you. All right, so when you're going in and you're doing your Bandscan, where did I put I think I have it here. Yeah. This is what I have for mine. This is my Bandscan. So this is what I'm kind of basing our challenge off of, is how I've kind of formulated my Bandscan. Again, if you want to go in there and put in the signal strength, the frequency category, all that kind of stuff, here's where I have the category. I color code mine to make it easier for me to kind of see because I'm a visual person. But this is me. I'm a DX super nerd, but that's just me. But this is kind of the basis for what we're doing here with this challenge. So I will be going through every single frequency, and I notate what the signal strength is that I see. If there's a station, what station is it? What's their PI code if there's RDS? What's their format? What's their slogan? Any notes that I put in here as well, I also kind of add those in too. Which I guess I need to add a note field for our log entry because I didn't have that on there yet. That's the next thing I need to add in there so you guys can do that if you're so inclined to add notes in. So you'll see all this in here of what was heard. If there are no stations there, like here is, I have a strong HD local here on 90.1 or on 90.3 or on 90.9. Our low band here is awful for HD. Those are noted along with the signal strength that I typically would see. And then when we have an opening like on 92.1, that's an open frequency. That's one of the first frequencies I always check during sporadic ECs. And I go right to 92.1. I'm listening for that. Then I go to 88.1 because that's the next one that's usually able to be overtaken during a sporadic E open. 88.1 is in Plaquemine, Louisiana, KPAQ. It's a weaker station here. It can be overtaken by good DX. Sometimes it takes a little bit more when the Tropo's in and that Plaquemine signal is a little stronger, but it can still be overtaken. But 92.1, 92.5, 94.5. I know where my local open holes are on the band because I go through this every year through this process. And then from there, I'm looking at things like, okay, do I have anything here like these blue ones? These are fringe stations. This Coast 102 is a little stronger than it used to be, so this is going to be updated this year probably to a local. But that's what I'm saying. Like, even if this was all last April when I did this, some things have changed in my local band since then. So it's important for me to go through and do this exercise at least once a year. And if you're using more than one radio, you'll want to do that band scan on each of those radios, especially if they're paired with different antennas. Like my Yagi, my 9-element Yagi is going to see something different than my 4-element log periodic. It's going to be different than my 65-foot high Omni. It's going to be different than my S antenna. So I really need to do that band scan for every single one of those antennas that I have, because each one of those is going to see the band a little bit differently. It's going to see those local signals a little bit differently, right? So that's how I'm doing mine. So this is what you'll have available to you. Now, I do have this as a template. So if you are wanting to kind of make your own band scan, that's a template that you can use. You would just take that link that I just put in the chat and just make a copy of that in Google Sheets so that you can then replace my text with your text on your copy. You can't do it on mine because that's my band scan. But you can copy that and make your own band scan and put your own stuff in there and using the format and everything that I've already put together. So it's already there for you. And you also have our Bandscan challenge to help you with that as well, as far as gathering all that information. That's what the whole point is to help you quickly gather all that information and be able to get all of that into a document so you'll know what are my open frequencies, what are my fringe, what are my strong locals, and so forth. So that's the Bandscan challenge. You guys ready to do some band scanning? You actually ready to get in here and do that? And we're going to look at the Tropo forecast before we adjourn, which, Joe, by the way, you're going to want to lean in on this one. We look at the Tropo forecast. You're going to want to pay attention because this is going to be great for you to be able to get some of those stations in Texas and other places, these Tropo conditions. So let's do some DX here. I'm going to take over our Shortwave Central web server here, and we're going to start just doing our band scan. I'm not going to be logging it on the form just yet. I'll do that later, but show you how I kind of go through and how I notate each of these frequencies. You ready? So let's start here. I start low usually and work my way up. So let's start at 88.1. All right. So there is a religious station there. More than likely that's KPAQ in Plaquemine. They're at negative 82.5, negative 83 dBm right now. I'd probably average that if it's kind of moving at all times. So that's the first station. So that's what I would note. I would say 88.1. I'll wait until I get that ID. Notate the signal strength. What's their slogan? What's their... Here we go. Oh, there's a PI code coming. It's not there yet. Okay, it's still coming in. I would notate the PI code if there was one. Notate the format. Notate the slogan. The call letters. Now we have it. There's KPAQ. Yep. Plaquemine, Louisiana. 74 miles, 264 degrees is the bearing. I would also note, I didn't put that on our form, but I also notate that on my own personal band scan, because if I know, like, okay, this is a station that's I'm getting a lot of stations that are in this bearing, so if I have an opening over here, now those stations are in my null. So it's more likely I'll get DX from those, right? If I'm turning my Yagis. Then I'll go to my next one. Here's 88.3. This is RBH, reading for the blind. They don't have a PI code. But you can see here, negative 52.6 dBm. So this is a local New Orleans station. Then we have WJFM. This is Baton Rouge on 88.5. Negative 85 dBm-ish.
DX Central Live Top of the Hour Alert.
All right, let's look at some FM DX here, top of the hour. It's not as important on FM because they ID a lot more on FM than they do on AM. But especially on these lower ones in the non-commercial portion of the band below 92.1, top of the hour can be your friend. Let's look at 88.7. That should be a local. The Bridge here in Pearl River, WOTB. 88.9 is an open frequency for us here, relatively open. So that's actually a pretty good one. Sometimes there may be an HD there, but it's a pretty weak one. Then we get to 89.1. That is WBSN here in New Orleans. This is, what's the slogan on this one? I forget the slogan on this one. It's not Live Songs. Or maybe it is Live Songs. No, I think Live Songs was,
HD1 in New Orleans, WNLS Slidell, K208FW Homer, K236BU Hammond, and
yeah, there's Live Songs.
Livesongs.com.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Live Song. I do. I couldn't remember if that was Live Songs. What's the one? 88.5. What's their one? It is Sun Life. Sun Life Radio. I always get those two confused. Sun Life and Live Songs. So 88.9. 89.1 is Live Songs here in New Orleans. 89.3, this is usually either Baton Rouge, WRKF, or there's a Mississippi station here that comes in as well sometimes. WMA...
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Ryland Barton.
Maybe WMAW?
Iran continues to escalate. 2 U.S. combat planes were shot down today. 2 crew
But usually it's Baton Rouge. 89.5, right in Joe's backyard. This is Covington, Louisiana. WCWD. This is a new translator for the WWNO HD2 classical station. There's also an outlet on 104.9 for this one as well. Unfortunately, they now have this one here too in Covington. Took away a really good frequency that we used to have a good DX on. 89.7, this is a HD signal here from this one, WWNO, 89.9. They have HD. They have 2 HDs, because here's the other one, 90.1, also HD. And you can see here, so this is what I was talking about with these HDs. So the main signal, WWNO, is at negative 46 dBm, roughly. Pretty steady. Look at that. That's not moving around. Pretty steady right there at 46. Look at the HDs. Now, here's the other thing you're going to notice. This one has 2 HDs, right? One at 89.7 and then one at 90.1, right? Watch the difference. Sometimes one of them will be stronger than the other. 89.7 is around negative 63-ish. Okay? 90.1 is a little bit stronger. Just a little bit. Sometimes it's more of a gap. Sometimes it's a bigger gap. I mean, it's pretty close. But sometimes there's one of those HDs that's stronger than the other. You're going to want to know that. You're going to want to know that for sure. 90.3, this is a Mississippi station to be MAH in Biloxi. 90.5, before I even get there, I'll tell you this one is HD signal from our local WWOZ. You can see the signal here at negative 72. Then we get to WOZ here in New Orleans, my favorite station in the city. Negative 53, negative 54. And then we get to 90.9. We're at negative 66. Now, I want you to look at that. Negative 66 on 90.9, they're HD from WWOZ. On 90.5, it's negative 72. See what I was talking about? One of those is stronger than the other. You're going to want to know that. Because this one, the 90.5, I'm more likely to get a DX signal on 90.5 than I am on 90.9. It takes a stronger DX signal to overtake the HD on 90.9. This is why we do these band scans. This is why this is important. 91.1, this is Baton Rouge-ish, Norco. Actually, it's a little bit closer to New Orleans. RNV here. This is our local. Radio Nueva Vida. 91.3 is another Live Songs. WNLS in Slidell, just down the street from us here on the North Shore. That negative 64 dBm, that's decently strong. It's not like impossible to overcome, but it's decently strong. It's going to take a little bit of something to get rid of that, signal-wise. Negative 75 here, negative 76 for 91.5. That's WTUL down in Tulane. Love this station, too. Very eclectic. This is a signal that's easily overcome. Negative 76 dBm, that's a signal that a good DX opening can take. And we do get some DX here. Now, if it's a weaker opening, probably not. But a decent opening, at least a moderate opening, especially Tropo, you're going to get something here. And this is one of the frequencies that I do check. Here's American Family Radio on 91.7 in Gulfport. And here in Buras, KMRL on 91.9. So the same exact station on two frequencies back to back. There you go. Here's 92.1. This is the frequency. Now the 89.5 is no longer available. This is the one. So the very first station that I look at, and it's on my car radio. I have you have like FM1, FM2. You can do like presets on multiple different sets of presets on FM. My FM1 is all my local stations, like 98.5 is in the P1, 90.7 is P2, Q93 is in there. On FM2, where I'm looking for DX, this is my P1 right here. And you hear that signal? See how it's negative 94, negative 92? I have a weak signal in there. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Because this frequency is usually around a negative 110 to negative 117 dBm. But when I see that, I pay attention. Even if I wasn't hearing it, I could see that and go, oh, something's there. Hear it? So we have a religious station here on 92.1. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know who that would be. Because we have here 92.1 is usually WZEW in Mobile. When we get something coming in, usually a little bit of Tropo, it's usually them. Or it's Seabrook, Texas, 92.1 KROI. That's the other one. Let me pull up my FM list and turn on the comforts. I just turn on the comforts. Now it says sport, but I just turn on the comforts so I can see the stations that I've already logged. It could be Bentonia, Mississippi. They're a Sun Life. So then I would just check 88.5. Nope, it's not Sun Life. Who is this? Now, we do have a little bit of Tropo here to the east tonight. But Mobile is sitting on 92.1, and they're an alternative station, so that's not them. I wonder who this could be. On 92.1. Let's see, negative 92.5 dBm. There's a K-Love up in Ruston. But that's pretty far north. Now that sounds like Mobile. That rock station, that sounded like 92 Zoo in Mobile. So that you're getting this fading transition on path. Not yet, Matt. The only other one that I could see that would be similar to a local network is 88.5 Sun Life Radio. That's what Sun Life is doing right now.
It is languages.
So the woman that was speaking, that's not Sun Life. This could be Hattiesburg, Mississippi, but I think they were like R&B and like soul music last time I heard them. Oh, it could be Power 92 in DeQuincy, Louisiana. KTSR, that could be them. I think Power 92 might be, if I remember right, it's religious. That's probably who that is. That's 92 Zoo. So that's okay. That's probably who that is KTSR in DeQuincy. So more than likely. But that's it. I mean, that's the process for doing this band scan. One frequency at a time. Notate what you hear, whether it's a station or not. Even if there's no station, notate your frequency, notate your signal strength, and notate that it's an open frequency. That way you'll know, right? You'll have it easily identified. You can filter your spreadsheet down and say, show me my open frequencies. And now those are your presets. Those are your memories in your TEF, or that's your open receivers in SDR console, right? Those are the frequencies you're going to. Hey, I just got an E alert. There's a donut right over top of me. I'm going to 92.1, then I'm going to go to 88.1, then I'm going to 92.5, right? So I have 94.5, 95.1. I have my frequencies that I'm checking, and I'm looking to see, is the band open? And I do that because I know what frequencies are open. And then once I've looked at those, then I go back and look at other frequencies that are maybe like fringe or whatever. Because remember, especially in E-skip openings, the prevailing logic is it starts down the low end of the band and works its way up. Well, what happens if I'm checking 92.1 and I don't hear anything? What if there's no station on 92.1 in the area that's producing DX? If I'm only looking at 92.1, but I'm not checking 94.5 or 95.1 or 92.5 or some of these others, I might be missing out because there may not be a station on 92.1 in the part of Michigan that's coming in right now, or the part of Pennsylvania that's coming in right now, right? So I need to know all of those, and I need to be able to get to those in rapid succession to get to those other frequencies where I have an open area to look and see if DX is coming in there, right? It's not just about that one frequency. I've seen people do this. They sit on 88.1 and they just park it there and they just leave it and they never get off of that one frequency, or something down low, thinking that, well, if it's coming in, it's got to start here. Not necessarily. I've had openings where the only thing that I had was on 95.1. And that's something that, as we are now in the SDR and autologger era, that we're finding that we never really thought of before back in the day. We never really thought of. We thought, I used to be one of the guys. I'd park on 88.1, and if I got DX, I got DX. I know that was also Pat's thing down in San Antonio. All those years of data, he would leave on 88.1 a receiver parked all year long, and he would notate if DX was coming in or not on that 88.1. All 24 hours a day, every day of the year, he would leave it on 88.1 looking for a flare-up of DX. Well, who knows how many openings might have come in that there was no station on 88.1 that could give him a signal. And so it was actually on 88.5 or 88.9 or 92.1, right? Like there was only maybe a couple of frequencies that would have come in because there were just a couple of frequencies that have that in that one area where there's an FM station on those, just a couple of frequencies. If you were getting 20 years ago, if you were getting an opening to the Murphy, North Carolina area, you had 102.7. That was it. 102.7 was the only game in town. And so if you were sitting on 88.1, you would have never known that Murphy, North Carolina was coming in. Right? So kind of keep that in mind. Don't just focus. I've seen that strategy and I've done it myself. I did it for a long time. Or I would just sit on one frequency and think, well, it's got to come through here. No, it doesn't. Know your open frequencies all throughout the band and check all of them. Even if you don't know if the MEF is up that high, check it. I feel like the MEF spikes a lot higher than people realize. We just don't always check it because we think it's only going to be down the low end and work its way up. Not always. I mean, in theory, that's what it's doing, and it would have done that if there were stations in the lower portion of the band. But if there's no stations down there, Murphy, North Carolina, to give you anything down from that area, Murphy, North Carolina, you're not going to notice it until the MUF gets to 102.7, and then it's going to show up. So knowing your entire band, not just the low end, know your entire band, know where all your open frequencies are, where you have your frequencies that are easily overtaken by DX. That's what this band scan is going to hopefully help you do. We're doing this between now and the 24th, so you've got plenty of time to get it in there and play around with it. I'll be in the Slack because I'm sure you guys will have some questions, so I'll make sure to get those answered for you. Before we adjourn for the night, let's do our look at Bill Hepburn's Tropo forecast. All right? So, this is as of 1800 UTC, which is 1 o'clock my time here, Central Time here, earlier today. This is the most recent forecast that Bill has put out. Let's turn off all of our red here. Get back to blue. All right, so we've got Tropo-ish conditions off the coastlines. Strong Tropo, at least. But inland, it's kind of weak. We're talking this marginal to fair. So I know there's probably a lot of folks who say, well, if it's purple, I'm not even going to waste my time. Still check. Sometimes those marginals turn out to be more fair or moderate than forecasted. Stuart wants to know a quick method to use for FM list. Oh, I forgot my shout out too, Jacob. I'm going to be covering FM list as we get into the next couple weeks. I'm going to do a whole thing on FM list and a whole thing on WLogger to show you the quick way of getting those logs in. Jacob, you're right. I didn't do my shout out yet. I need to get that in because I got a clip to play. But real quick though, this Tropo forecast. So even you folks here under the purple, don't dismiss that as like, it's not worth my time. Still check. Still keep an eye on your auto logger maps. Still keep an eye on the FM list map and the WLogger map. Keep an eye on your ways that you keep an eye on propagation. Keep a look at the APRS map because you never know. That might be a little stronger than it looks. And that's a pretty big swath there that feels very duct-ish or prefrontal, right? Kind of frontal boundary Tropo. That's when I would be checking. Everyone from here in New York, Michigan, Ohio, Ontario, Pennsylvania, into Indiana, into Illinois, down in Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Like all of you guys should be checking Tropo as we go through. Now it does look like it's dissipating as we go into the evening hours for some of you, but there's others where it's building up. Look at this right here in Ohio, West Virginia. Bloop, right there. Into parts of Indiana. Look at this right here from Oklahoma up into Kansas, Missouri, right? And we see now that pushing in, this is at 1 o'clock this morning, Central Time. We see that pushing in now, pushing in from the Gulf, pushing inland into Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida Panhandle, which is why we were hearing 92 Zoo a few moments ago. We're starting to see, look at this here on the East Coast, from the Carolina-Virginia border all the way down to Florida. Man, I remember those Tropo openings when I was in Charleston. This was like every night in April in Charleston. I would hear Wilmington, I would hear Savannah, I'd hear Jacksonville. I'd hear Wilmington, I'd hear Savannah, I'd hear Jacksonville. I'd have Myrtle Beach, I'd have Beaufort, right? Like this whole stretch. This was a very common Tropo path. So, yep. And now look at this marginal line now extending into parts of Pennsylvania, New York, up into New England. So all of you need to be looking. If you're under any of these colors here at all, in any of the places I've mentioned, you need to be looking at the autologger maps tonight. This is, again, 1 o'clock a.m. Central Time. So that would be in the next 3 to 4 hours. You need to be paying attention to the autologger maps, to FM list, to WLogger, checking your band. Look, if you have an autologger up, keep an eye on your autologger because there could be some stuff. I mean, look at here. We've got this nice bit of fair into moderate. These greens are moderate and high, right? So we're getting fair, marginal, fair into moderate now here into Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, parts of Illinois, eastern Missouri. Still, all the stuff down here in the Gulf. Look at this big push up into central Mississippi from down here. Look how far that inland that stuff is pushing now on the South Carolina coast, not just Charleston and the coastal region. Now we're talking about Orangeburg. We're talking about Columbia. We're talking about pushing up into Florence, some of those places up here in South Carolina, a little further inland. Yeah, those are not as common, Tropo. So that's some good stuff in there. And we're still talking about Wilmington, Outer Banks, Hatteras, all the way up to Kitty Hawk, like all of you guys down the coastline. That's continuing into now 1200 UTC. That's 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Still quite a bit here. That's now definitely hitting Columbia, that part here in South Carolina. That's definitely Florence. That's definitely Myrtle Beach, Charleston, down towards Beaufort, down towards Savannah. But all kinds of Columbia, all kinds of Florida, all kinds of, let's see, what's some of the other stuff up there up north, and the PD and that kind of area. All you guys, Tropo. Now we have a big push. Texas, up through northern Louisiana, into Arkansas, into Mississippi. We have a little duct going here from Illinois, down through Missouri, down to Oklahoma. We have another little opening here from New York City into Connecticut, Rhode Island, which you guys probably get a lot of that anyway, but we're getting a little enhancement here for maybe some of those stations you don't normally get. They're a little out of your range, might be boosted this time. So it's something to keep an eye on. Now we're going into the daylight hours tomorrow. You start to see some of this stuff burn off. It's pushing off the coastline again. It's just off the coast. And so this is what you would typically see as we kind of burn off into the afternoon hours. But now we're back up to 000 UTC. So this is around sunset for a lot of folks. We just passed sunset here on the East Coast. Look at it start to push in again. I'm talking Virginia, North Carolina border, all the way down South Carolina, into Savannah, up into northern Florida, that whole path. Now we're talking not marginal, we're not talking fair, we're talking strong to very strong, that entire corridor east of I-95. That entire corridor east of I-95, you're talking about strong to very strong Tropo. You're talking about some more paths developing here. Again, Michigan, down into Indiana, down into Illinois. Some stuff here in Arkansas, back into to Oklahoma and Texas. It's not super strong. It's fair, but you've got some stuff in there. You've got some fair up here in Michigan around the Great Lakes area. Stuart, I know you're still in there. You got some stuff maybe here. Marginal in here, yes. It's super weak, but it's worth looking and keeping an eye for anything that might develop. We aren't seeing a big push here on the Gulf Coast just yet until we get into the late night hours Saturday night. This is 0100 Central Time, 0600 UTC, so 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday night into Sunday morning. Look at this push coming in on the Florida Panhandle, up into Alabama, up into Georgia. Big, broad region of moderate, or fair with a little bit of moderate here in northeast Texas, into Oklahoma, into Arkansas. Again, this entire East Coast corridor east of I-95 is just, it's going to be solid. Saturday night and then tonight, but tomorrow night, even stronger tomorrow night. Solid all the way down that East Coast corridor, down into North Florida towards Daytona. As far south as like Daytona. That's going to be pretty significant. And then you'll see it start to push in even further here on the Gulf Coast into up towards Atlanta. So some of our friends over in the panhandle of Florida that do some FM DX, there's quite a few of you that I know. Terry, George, some of you guys, look at that push up and towards Atlanta. There's an option for you. Some fair Tropo here now from a corridor from northwest Mississippi, Arkansas, North Louisiana, all the way back into Texas. That's frontal Tropo right there. As we see that front now push through, it's going to push this out. Look at here now. This is Sunday night, right around sunset, as that front's coming through from the upstate of South Carolina down into Georgia, Atlanta, down into Alabama. You guys, Les, if you're watching, you've got some Tropo coming your way Sunday night back into Texas. So there's this frontal Tropo. Sometimes this frontal Tropo, it can travel the entire length of that front out ahead of it. It can travel the entire length of it. It looks like that's what we're maybe getting in here Sunday night around 000 UTC Monday. And now we have a broad area of fair for most of the Gulf South up to the Tennessee border as we get into Monday. Now, I don't push out too far past a couple of days, past about 3 days. I don't put a lot of weight into the forecast. I keep an eye on it for anything that's like substantial, because I'm like, okay, maybe there might be a little bit of something, on day 6 or day 7 that looks pretty significant. I'll keep an eye over the next couple of forecast runs to see if that continues. But definitely tonight, tomorrow night, and all those places that I've mentioned, especially here along that East Coast from the Virginia, North Carolina border all the way down to North Florida into Daytona, you guys are going to get some Tropo. You know this routine well if you've been doing this DX for a while. If you're new to it, point your antenna north, you're going to get North Carolina. If you're here in South Carolina, point your antenna south, you're going to get down to Florida. If you're up here in North Carolina, point your stuff south. You're going to have all kinds of stuff. I would also highly recommend, if you're familiar with the Bermuda TEF 6686 web server, this is going to be a good time to be listening on there. You're probably going to be amongst a lot of people who are tuning around on that one, so just kind of lean back and watch what comes in. But the Bermuda TEF web server, if you go to FM DX, let me pull up the server map here. Servers.fmdx. Oops, server. Is it server or servers? It is servers. I had it right the first time. Okay. Here's the link for the list of all the web servers. So I'm going to pull this up on screen here. This one right here in Bermuda. Tonight, tomorrow night, this is going to be some good listening. You're going to be able to hear into the Carolinas down to Florida. You'll be able to hear pretty much the entire East Coast south of Virginia, maybe even into parts of Virginia. You might maybe be able to hear into parts of Virginia from Bermuda. Maybe mostly it's going to be from the North Carolina-Virginia border down into Florida. On this Bermuda web server, it's going to be some good listening. Some really good listening here. In fact, let's go connect to it real quick and just lean back and just kind of see if anybody's tuning around. Is anybody up? We got one person in, and it's me. So right now we got the control of it. That's rare. That's rare. Let me see. 95.1 I know is a station in Charleston. Not a lot coming in right now, but I know later tonight this should be pretty good, and tomorrow night especially. This is going to be a good one to be tuned in on. And also, like we said earlier, the Tropo may be there. It's just not making it down to FM yet. It might still be up in the upper frequencies of VHF, like in NOAA Weather Radio and 2 meters. Oh, I don't have this on screen, do I? There you go. There's that web server from Bermuda here, and this is the I put the link in so you can see it on there. But here's the map. There's that web server right there in Bermuda. So should be good. Aiden, you can't go back and edit the log. Just ping me. You said you sent an unfinished challenge log. Just ping me on it, and I can delete it. And you can I tell you what. Let me go find it real quick. I'll just delete it, and you can resubmit. This is for the FM Bandscan. There it is. Which one was it? Looks like you have 2 from WSDP. I'm assuming maybe the first one was your incomplete one. Just ping me on. Let me know which one, because I see 2 WSDPs, 88.1 the park. Just let me know which one to delete, and I can delete one or both, whichever way. Yeah, I see 2 here for the WDSP. Both of them look complete. I'm not seeing anything that one has the other one doesn't, except for maybe signal strength. The second one doesn't have signal strength. Neither have RDS, although RDS was pulled in. It pulled in based off of what the actual WTFDA has. So, yeah, those look both the same. The first one, okay. Gone. There you go. All right, real quick, let's do our shout out, because this is one that I want to make sure I get to celebrate. This is country number 27, if I remember right. Pull up our log. I think this is country number 27 here from Mandeville on AM. Yep, 27 countries. So we were able to add Uruguay this week on the 31st. CX16. This is 850 kilohertz. I'm going to play you a clip here that I have. It's a video clip. So what you're going to have here is there's two clips on here. Okay, delete both. Okay, I will delete both. Gone. So yeah, you're clear to resubmit, Aiden. What you're going to hear on this clip here is you're going to hear a Kiwi SDR down in Montevideo, Uruguay. You're going to want your headphones for this, by the way. You're going to hear this nice clear signal from Montevideo of this woman singing. And then you're going to hear my received signal on 850. Now, I was having to cancel out using the co-channel canceller, a station that was dominating on the frequency. And that left me with the opportunity to hear the station down in Uruguay. So this is pretty cool. You'll definitely want headphones for this. But again, first thing you'll hear is the Kiwi, and then you'll hear my received signal on the AirSpy. And then we'll do it again, and then it repeats the received signal a couple times towards the end of the clip here. So there's the clip.
Our most important number is comes from your whole date of birth, reduced to 1 digit. In your case, it's the number 7.
How about that?
And the right half number is our most important number. This comes from your whole date of birth, reduced to 1 digit.
That descending bass line?
And the right half number is our most important number. This comes from your whole date of birth, reduced to 1 digit. In your case...
And then I think yeah. And then one more time.
I'm going to move along. And the right half number is our most important number. This comes from your whole date of birth, reduced to 1 digit. In your case, it's the number 7. Now, I say this when I counsel.
That, my friends, was Uruguay. Now, do I want that to be a nice, big, pretty ID of Radio Carve Montevideo? Yeah, I want that. But sometimes you can't get that. Sometimes you have to resort to a different strategy to get that station in the log, especially when like that. Now, that was pretty definite that was them. But sometimes you get something that's a little... I had it earlier where I was like, I think that's them. It sounds like them. I need something that's like substantial that I can sink my teeth into. And then I heard that clip. with that descending bass line, there's nobody else that's going to be airing that. There's nobody else on 850 that's going to be doing the exact same thing that I heard on the Montevideo Kiwi. Nobody. So no one's playing that song in Florida, right? So that's country number 27. 5,011 miles. Number 1,134 here in Mandeville on AM. But if you hear some people on social media tell it AM is dying, there's nothing to DX anymore, my friends. I'm not going to go back down that road again. I beat that one pretty hard last week. Okay. That is going to be our show for tonight. You guys are tasked with going out and learning your local FM band from bottom to top, top to bottom. Go to the challenge website, dxchallenges.com. You don't have to be logged in this time. You have to have your information filled out on that little side panel, but you don't have to be logged in on the website. So that'll make it easier for everybody, right? You do have to have your information in. It should, if you click that Remember Me, it should save it. But sometimes browser settings are wonky and it'll delete something, cookies and stuff like that. So if it happens, just put it back in and you'll be fine. And you're logging and you're back up and running. I'll be in the Slack channel if anybody has any issues. This is the first time we're doing this, so I fully expect there to be some snags. Okay? We've never done anything like this before with that interface. So I expect snags. Just ping me on Slack. Shoot me an email or, whatever if you're not on Slack. Just reach out to me. I'm on Twitter at DX Central. You can reach out to me however. And I'll be here obviously next week as well. We'll be checking in with everybody and have a live stream next week so we can do it that way too. So, thank you to our patrons at patreon.com/DX Central. They got to see this earlier in the week, this new interface. They've been, some folks doing some testing for us and things like that. So they knew about this several days ago. I knew this was coming. Got to have a sneak peek of the new interface. They also have our patron exclusive live stream that we did several weeks back, talking about Google Suite for logging. They get early access to videos that we're posting up on the YouTube channel, which we're going to be getting on that hard this summer. Actually, this month we'll be getting back on that. They get early access to podcast episodes. They get show notes before our live streams. They get a bunch of other exclusives that are just for our patrons. So patreon.com/DX Central if you want to be part of the crew in Studio C. Thank you to our sponsors, the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.com. Yeah, .com, right? IRC, no, it's .org. IRConline.org. I'll get it down in a second. National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org. And the Spectrum Monitor, thespectrummonitor.com. For our sponsors, for our patrons, appreciate you guys. Appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much. Enjoy the Bandscan Challenge, my friends. I'm going to be hitting it hard this week myself, getting ready for FM DX season next week. We'll do some more talking, or we'll be probably talking about FM list, W-Logger, all kinds of stuff over the next couple of weeks. So this is our opportunity to get ready for the FM DX season. Well, take care, my friends. We'll see you next time right here on DX Central Live.
This has been the DX Central from the Static Podcast. If you are interested in sponsoring this podcast, let us know by emailing sponsors@fromthestatic.net. If you have a story to share for our Stories from the Static series, send those to our email address, stories@fromthestatic.net. Be sure to join us for our live DX live stream every Friday night at 23:45 UTC, 18:45 Central Time on our YouTube channel or at dxcentrallive.com.
The DX Central From the Static podcast is copyright 2025, Loyd Van Horn, DX Central. All rights reserved. No portion of this podcast may be rebroadcast or reused without the express written authorization of Loyd Van Horn and DX Central. Be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, as new episodes will be posted regularly. Join us next time for the DX Central From the Static podcast.